Punching Nazis is a slippery slope.
Kind of. I think I've been fighting around.
And I love water slides. Wee! Woohoo!
Well, 20, but yeah, let's go.
Right. Thank you, Duke Nukem. That is the one thing I couldn't change, the channel points symbol. So those are just normal streamed ones.
Yeah, they're not coming through that browser yet.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's temperamental. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The only way you could definitely get it to work, Ben, is I suppose if you opened your streaming software and put it as a browser source, I guess. But it's too much hassle for you, I guess.
Okay.
Because it works 100% of the time in the browser source. But hello, everybody. Tonight is the start of the Call of Cthulhu campaign, or at least the short campaign. And it is going to be run by Rose, so I'm going to be just a player. And we've got everything set up. I've never played Call of Cthulhu before, so it is a new experience for me. I know, Hannah, you have played it. Ben, have you played it?
No.
Liam?
No.
Okay, so this is going to be an interesting experience for the majority of the people. As barely any of us have played Call of Cthulhu, actually. So I'm going to just simply let Rose, who's a dungeon master, keeper, dungeon mistress, whatever you want to call it nowadays. I don't know.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Ooh.
Well, I don't
You can
know.
call me mummy. If you really want to, you can call me mummy. Just for one night, it'll be fine.
Dungeon mummy.
Got it. Right. So, Rose, if you want to take it away and obviously introduce us to what you've got planned and stuff and what people can expect, because again, I don't fucking know.
So yeah, what you can expect in Call of Cthulhu is slowly watching a group of investigators be driven insane by otherworldly entities, strange things in the night, things that they can't really make sense of. The whole idea of it is this is beyond our comprehension. These otherworldly beings, these eldritch entities that only want us because we are livestock. But our investigators will try to stop this from happening by their measly skill sets, you know? It's going to be fun. Well, mainly for me and for all of you as well. So I think that's a brief explanation, or is everybody ready to get started?
I think that explanation is what we constitute as good enough.
Okay. So, a new story is ready to be told, but this tale is only for the brave and bold. So you should go before we start, as this is not for the faint of heart. But we both know you will stay, as you cannot keep the curiosity at bay, because the unknown is reaching out to you. There will be a new world born anew. And as you call out to Thanatos, because all you've had in your life is loss, are you ready for what there will be? Can you stay sane after what you will see? Otherworldly markings scratched into stone, or a ritual cast from blood and bone? Can you hear that London is calling? Did you jump, or are you falling? Sinking down into the depths of the Thames, where you'll see strange patterns. The beckoning glow of a twisted rift to the world of gods made of myth. Trust me, you should leave, or pray to the gods you believe, before it is all ripped away and before your mind begins to decay. But don't worry, my dearest viewer, it won't be you on that sharp skewer. It's going to be one of this sad lot, and I will make sure they wither and rot. They didn't notice my sinister trap, and now they have fallen into my lap. These hapless fools have said yes, and I will not show them any kindness. Because even though Hannah is kind, well, I'm the one with a broken mind. And even though Liam makes strange noises, I'm the one who hears strange voices. And even though Ben is large, I am the one who is now in charge. And even though Danny is the mullet man, I'm the one with the wicked plan. This is unlike what you've seen here before, and I am your keeper of arcane lore. So now that we have set the stage, let's go mad, as it's all the rage.
That was.
I feel like 2
fucking-
years of winding Rose up has come.
That was fucking
Come
amazing.
home to
Like,
roost.
I heard Hannah's name and I'm like, wait,
You like
what?
that?
I heard Hannah's name and I'm like, wait, what? And then I heard Leo and I'm like, oh, fuck's sake, no.
Yeah, here we go.
Thank you, Doctor, for the lurk. Oh, that was really good. I like that. I thought this was like an intro
I can
read,
send
like
it
for
to
the
you guys after.
game. Yeah.
It was. Oh,
Well,
yeah,
like
well,
I thought it was like
but
from a
just
book. I thought it was from a book. Like is what I meant. Like it was really good.
No, I put that together myself.
Nice.
So, yeah. So, the year is 1890, and England is at the height of an industrial revolution, and a cultural change is taking place. We have never really lost our love of the macabre, and what once would have been the masses clawing for the death of a combatant in a Roman arena has now turned to the calling of watchers as a man hangs for the crimes he has been charged with. But in the streets of London, the fog is thick. You can feel it reaching its icy fingers into your mouth and down your throat. It's so thick as even as you squint into the fog, you can barely see a few feet ahead of you. The cobblestone is slick with moisture as you make your way through the town. See, each of you are heading towards a home of a friend, a colleague, someone that you know either intimately or at a vague distance. You're making your way there for a seance in order to call to the afterlife, to find out what mysteries may be experienced by the undead. But first, on this London street, you see a man who makes his way. Reverend, would you like to introduce yourself? What do the viewers, what would they see?
They will see a man in his sort of late 40s, very much greying hair, slightly wild unkempt hair, clean shaven, wrinkles around the eyes and the mouth. I guess he's kind of got like a long coat up that's sort of like he's pulling up to his neck as he's kind of wading through the streets. Quite large built. Just yeah, I guess that's what you see at the minute. He's got like a dog collar on, but he seems quite unkempt and rural rather than a very prim and proper kind of priest.
So yeah, you're making your way through the city streets. You know your way round this area quite a little bit. But even then, sometimes you're having to pay close attention to the plaques of the street names. And you see these kind of little glowing lights kind of illuminate as their light bleeding through the fog a little bit to keep this kind of blurred sensation around them. You can even see a lantern lighter making his way, once using a small lantern to light each of these as you kind of keep your collar up high, your shoulders almost like reaching your ears as you try to make your way through, but keeping an eye out, because in the fog things can happen. People can lose your life. Well, your life yet. But eventually you reach the home of Captain Henry Albertson and his dear wife. It is a modest townhouse for a man of his stature. You've known him for a number of years. Well, in a passing sort of way since you came to London. He has attended Mass. Well, the equivalent of Mass for your people. I think even you would have presided over the funeral of his son, which is the reason he has invited you to here tonight. And even though you are a man of God, there is something still that draws you to know if there is really life after death. Is this all hocus pocus sold to the masses as a way of control, or whether this could be real? Can you contact the dead? As you come up to the home, you can see stone steps kind of leading up to this. It's like a very Victorian townhouse. You know, it is built into a street where there are multiple ones. It does seem to have multiple levels that kind of push back much further than you anticipate. And as you kind of head up, would you like to do anything?
First, I would like just to confirm that Henry Robertson, was it, Colonel?
Albertson.
Albertson. Okay.
Mhm.
No, I think he would just sort of like readjust himself before he knocks on the, like, you know, readjust his clothes, makes sure his collar's on, and just takes a moment to like breathes in before he knocks on the door. You see, he's sort of reluctant in a way, and then he knocks on the door.
So yeah, as you knock on the door, and it is like a heavy brass door knocker of a lion, which is kind of fitting for someone who would have been in the military at some point in their life. And as you kind of give it a resounding knock, there is a second where it seems to stretch a little bit. The time does, as you're waiting there before you see the door open and an older gentleman in his 50s, a few wrinkles on his face, and you can even see, even though he is older, he still holds himself with a modicum of like deep-seated respect for himself as he's kind of standing there, and gives you a short nod and goes, "Good evening, sir."
I take it this isn't Henry.
No, this seems to be a servant of some sorts.
He's like, yes, I'm trying to remember my own name now. I am the Reverend Maynard Bourne. I'm here to see the captain.
Of course. And he kind of moves aside. He doesn't bow as such, but he does kind of drop his head a little bit in kind of respect, essentially. You get the impression very quickly that this is a well-experienced butler. He knows exactly what to do and when to do it, as he does kind of lead you in and closes the door behind you, moving the small lock into place. As he kind of leads you through to what appears to be a drawing room. You can see in that room, it is the whole house, even the small entryway that you've been allowed into at first, is well cleaned. It is not really. It's not got a lot of trinkets or little things on display. It seems to be very minimalistic. But everything is highly polished, made of brilliant wood, would be considered as quite expensive furniture for the time. Probably even more so than what we would consider today. All the floors have even been waxed from the looks of it. And it's not that your feet are slipping, it is just mainly that everything has been polished to a high shine. You can see in the centre of the drawing room a table has been set up with a heavy cloth across it, this kind of purple cloth that sits there with essentially a candle, and the whole room has got candles kind of littered in various different locations around the room. Even the oil lanterns that are fixed to the sides of the walls are burning brightly to give this kind of very candlelit, lamplit atmosphere, and it seems quite warm and inviting. You do see another gentleman inside it, one who is kind of standing straight backed, I imagine. Oh, why don't you tell us, Danny, what the Reverend sees?
Yes. So, red hair and fair skin, probably stands around 6'2" or something similar, depending on comparison height to you. Hair's slicked back and like all like pushed down as the time period like allow, and then with a mustache that like comes out to the sides in like a fine point. Currently his jacket's like currently hooked up in a way so you can see the white, like just a simple white shirt with suspenders attached to like a dark brown like trousers and thick heavy boots underneath, just sat at the table.
That's not
This
the
you
captain
have
then?
been invited here mainly because no. So this man that you see doesn't seem to be of captain rank. I don't believe yet. A few
No.
ranks below,
Yeah,
probably
sounds about
making
right.
your way up. And you know the captain through that he did work with the military men for. Is it the military men? The militiamen? Sorry, do apologize. Can't remember everything. For a number of years in this, and you guys kind of struck up a simple friendship, really, of, you know, somebody you have a similar likeness for good ale, decent food, and not really the frivolity of life too much. So he's kind of invited you here as he's not sure whether you're a skeptic or not, but he needs someone who's a little bit sounder of mind to support him. And you were friends, so he has invited you. But yeah, you see this gentleman sitting at the table. And obviously you see the Reverend as he is brought in by the butler.
I guess he sort of removes his coat and hands it to the butler. And that you'll sort of reach out an arm to a hand out to this person he hasn't met before, and just be like, Reverend Maynard, nice to meet you.
I'm assuming that's to me, Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll stand up and kind of like shake the hand, like grab the hand and shake it back. Pleasure to meet you. My name is Oswald. Oswald Laszlo.
Nice to meet you, Oswald. Is the captain in the room with us, or is it just us two at the moment?
Not at the moment. And you do see the butler, as he's taking your coat, will go, I will go inform the captain of your arrival and his wife. We're waiting on a few other guests and obviously the medium herself. Please, and he will kind of gesture to the side, and you see a young woman of sorts kind of move into the room and will start making you guys small aperitifs. So there is like sherry on offer and port if you wish to partake.
Certainly.
Before he like goes, and you can hear him almost heading up the side, and you can hear the sound of a door opening and then a little bit of shuffling before the door gets closed, and then footsteps resume back further into the house. So you are handed both small aperitifs, and she gives you kind of like a little curtsy before exiting the room. You have some time if you would like to talk.
I guess Maynard would sort of be like, so are you one of these believers in this spiritual?
Well, I certainly have no reason to distrust anything that people say, but it will be interesting to see if anything holds truth here. I mean, what say you? You're a man of the gods, I believe, or the god. That's D&D speak, ignore that. You're a man of God, aren't you? So, what? Surely you would be a believer in such things, correct?
Well, you see, I'm here to support Henry, and I don't think this is a man driven by grief. This is not the path. But I'm here to support him and hoping he does not get led astray. There are things, you know, spirits. I've seen them, witches. They whisper, they deceive. They are by the devil.
Well, if there is a heaven and a hell, then surely there should be the other things in between, in theory.
Yes. Well, but why? To access heaven, you need the book, you need the Bible, you need to speak with God and the congregation, not some woman that speaks to whispers in the dark, I would say.
And do you possess such a book with you to lend help? Or are you just here for the support of your friend?
I'm sure he will talk to me about it when he is ready. I'm just here to be supportive, so he isn't taken by these dark forces.
Well, that is certainly at least a good enough motive to be here tonight.
Yes, and he'll sort of he'll just like raise the glass and be like, "To friendship, then."
To the protection of those you care about. And
He sort of nods and raises a glass.
And just insert ching noise there.
Out of character, how jowly is your character, Daddy? Like,
yeah,
he's going to go so jolly.
Yeah, why not? Is that a problem?
No,
Do
Not at all.
you want me to cut back the gels?
no, I am
No.
just admiring it.
Okay.
So, as this kind of goes on, you do eventually hear the sound of a carriage pulling up outside. Like, it's quite loud with these things. You can hear the sound of horseshoes on the ground, and you can hear the sound of like I say, a carriage pulling up. And then after a short time, there is another reserved knock on the door. And at this point, outside the door, turning to you, Rosa, is your brother. As he goes, "Oh, come on, don't pull that face. We're going to have a great time. A little bit of witchcraft. You can head back home afterwards. It'll be fine." This is to Rosa. Yeah, there we go.
So this is me and my brother, did you say?
Your brother, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I suppose it's something a bit different and interesting, I suppose. I mean, I'm not a big believer in all this stuff, but...
Neither am I.
At home.
This is it. And the captain's wife is a generous supporter of what we do. So, it's good sometimes to show a little bit of face. And you two inside the house, you hear muffled voices through the door. And you can see the butler heading back, who kind of gives you a nod and will say, "The captain will be in shortly," before he opens the door. And you see these two individuals enter in, hand over their coats. And then you can see, well, what do they see, Hannah?
So,
what does Rosa look like?
So Rosa's a brunette with similar brown eyes. She's a fairly fair complexion, not too dark, but not particularly pale either. She's in a typical dress style from that particular era, the 1890s, with the puff sort of shoulders and the sort of corset style centre. Dark black dress, effectively. And are we outside at this point?
No, we've kind of been led into the hallway, and we're standing in the archway to the drawing room.
Okay, so if we come in from outside, she'll probably have an umbrella with her that she'll probably pass to the butler once we've come inside.
So this is it. We hand this stuff, and you can see her brother is of similar complexion. They do look like siblings. In the fact, obviously, his hair is much shorter than his sister's. Well kept. They are very well dressed. And he is also in black. And he will hand over his coat before turning to the two of you and go, "Oh, good evening, gentlemen." And he will come over and will take your hand in a very strong grip, if you allow him to, and give you a quick shake. "Oh, I am Hugo Perkins, and this is my sister Rosa. It's delightful to meet you both."
You will, yeah.
He will go to the Reverend first and kind of shake your hand, and then turn immediately and shake the captain's hand if you proffer it.
Yeah, Captain. Is he?
Sorry? Oh no, sorry. This is not the captain. This is a younger gentleman. Yeah. It looks maybe to be a couple of years older than his sister, who I believe is considerably in her late teens, early 20s, if I remember rightly.
Yeah. He'll sort of just introduce himself like Reverend Maynard. Pleasure to meet you both.
And yourself, Captain? Not Captain, sorry. Sir?
Is this? Oh shit! This is me.
This is you, yeah.
I forgot.
Your character who exists.
No, it's all right because you were talking to Ben. I assumed it was still to Ben. Like, my bad.
No, it's all good.
A hand will be extended, and the name is Oswald. Pleasure to meet both of you, and I trust we should all have a pleasant evening. Are we expecting any more, do we reckon, for tonight? I was not aware of exactly how many we were meeting.
So you kind of look at the table, and the table is set. It is a considerable sized room, to be fair. The thing about Victorian townhouses is they would expand backwards quite considerably, and it is, there's not much room outside of the table really. There is seated 8 in total, I think. Doing quick math.
Okay. Well, it is a pleasure to meet the both of you, along with the Reverend here. It is always nice to meet new faces and get to know more people.
Oh, definitely. And obviously, oh, sorry. I am, as I said, Hugo Perkins. I'm the famed, and you get the distinct impression he loves to say this part. I am the famed explorer. You know, our family has travelled across most of the known continent of Europe. We've even dabbled some time in Egypt. Very fortunate, as you can understand. And he has got a wide smile, and he is quite an attractive young fellow, to be honest. Quite debonair, you get the impression of. Probably spends half of his time in houses of ill repute. He is that sort of gentleman, but at the same time, living life. And this is, as I said, my sister Rosa, who accompanies us on these expeditions.
So as he's showing off, I feel like she'd like kind of like behind him, sort of like have a noticeable like kind of rolling of the eyes, like she's heard this many times before from him, and she'd be like, pleasure to meet you, gentlemen.
Must be wonderful getting to see many portions of the world such as that, seeing different parts of our great empire.
Oh, of course, our family has been very lucky, and we do get obviously donations from people as we bring all sorts of variety of oddities back to this fine country.
Suppose there is always more value in bringing back the cultures of the world here for everyone to indulge.
Exactly. And he flashes you this very wide, very kind of, he's got really good teeth. You know, those people that take effort, especially in this time in the Victorian era. He is taking effort in his appearance, really, is what I'm trying to get across. As you keep talking, at this point you will see that an older gentleman, this one is in his early 60s, enters into the drawing room, but from the door that's like to the back of the room, not the archway that you have all come in. You see a gentleman, and he is wearing a very fine suit, but without frivolity. He's also dressed in black, as a sign of obvious mourning. You all know this to be the captain immediately. He is, like I say, in his early 60s. He's gone completely grey with age. He has a well-trimmed beard kind of across his face, but the sharpest blue eyes that you've seen on a man. Like, he is, you know him to be very astute, very quick on his feet, and very intelligent. Sort of captain. He was always willing to always lend an ear, but would immediately be able to pick bullshitters out, really. It's the best way of explaining it. But he will come over immediately and start shaking your guys' hands and be like, oh, good evening, Oswald. How are you doing? Reverend?
Yes.
Pleasure as always.
Mr. and Miss Perkins. And he won't really take your hand, you'll notice. He will do the usual thing, which is he'll kind of like grip your fingertips, Rosa, very gently and kind of like give a small nod of his head, almost like going to kiss the hand, but not actually kissing the hand. It's more what they would probably do for women in your time period. And he goes, "Oh, please take a seat." And once everyone's sat in, he goes, "We're just waiting on the nurse and the medium. I'm sure they will be here very, very shortly." And then you hear, "Oh, yes, I do apologise. We've invited a good old schoolfellow of our departed son. Bobbis always had good things to say about Wilfred. I suspect they got into much trouble in school. This is as I quickly check that Liam has not somehow aged up his character. If so, age it down just a little. Let me just quickly jump into Wilfred's character sheet very quickly.
Go on, have a check on Mr. Wang.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at the Wang. Bear with me. Oh, he is 30. Okay, yeah, so it was similar ages. Yeah, they were both at school together, good friends, so we're hoping that we can use him to... Well, my wife is hoping that this...
Hello?
Hello? I think Rose has
I think Rose
died.
has died.
Yep.
Cthulhu's got her.
Does that mean we win?
Yeah!
And we all lived happily ever after. Yay.
Right, I'm just going to nip to the toilet.
No.
Yeah.
Have those realised yet?
I don't know. I'm going to go quickly to the toilet as well, actually.
Mhm. Do-do-do.
Fuck me, I thought that was in the Discord. It was a sound alert, you fuck.
Wow.
I
We're all alone. The two of us together, Danny.
think Hannah's here.
Aw. Oh. No, she went to the toilet.
Oh, I thought Ben went to the toilet.
Ben went too,
Oh,
but we have lost Rose.
right. Well, don't forget Chatty's watching, Liam.
They can watch us, Danny.
Yes!
No!
No! Fuck! Shit!
That was perfectly timed. Matt played the like a yes, please.
Oh.
Oh Jesus! Oh, that was good. We're on an enforced break at the moment because Rose has died.
Yeah, he's kind of not giving an update. It's very unusual for her. I think it might be a big death.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, that's a good point, Midnight. Now you've got a subscription. You can make the David army.
Dave. What does this one do?
You do know, Liam, you can preview them.
Yeah, it's more fun like this though.
Okay, just so you know, you can preview.
Oh, I forgot I had that stream open.
Midnight, what the fuck are you doing?
Is she not back yet?
No.
So you've gone now. After you've not returned.
Shit.
So, how about them sports?
So, how about them weathers? Shall we,
Did you see the cricket ball last night?
The cricket.
He went somewhere.
There was the badminton tennis or something as well. Midnight, why are you spamming Davids? Stop. You're making E's in the chat. Because if you look at the stream, when you're spamming the Davids, it looks like it's taking the shape of a letter E. Stop.
David.
It's David.
Well,
Here, Danny, I'm going to play that song. You can have a musical interlude.
What?
I'm going to play Cthulhu.
Oh, Ben, no.
oh, yes.
Oh, she's back. Okay, you saved.
Oh, fuck, thank you.
Can you hear us?
Rose, can you hear me?
Rose,
Speak to us.
please fucking talk.
Rose.
Hello?
Oh,
Yay!
hey.
I am so sorry. I didn't realise I was talking so long. What bit did you hear up to?
I don't know.
We're discussing my age, and I think it was after that, wasn't it?
Yeah, you were
Yeah,
checking
Kidding me.
you were checking the wang, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just gotta wait for Hannah though, because
Okay.
she's not back yet.
I am so sorry, everybody. I am really sorry. I didn't realise I have just got launched into a full speech. Like 10 minutes of talking.
Oh,
Did you carry on after we got cut off?
oh yeah. Apparently for quite a while too.
Yeah, I was like, if she noticed, should we say something? I don't know. I'm just gonna go and.
Well, nobody sent me a. Did anyone send me a message? Actually,
No.
let's look at that. No.
Yeah, we were shouting at you.
I mean, we were saying
If you
to
just send us a message,
asking
you went wrong.
Yeah, I can't hear you, but the thing is, though, it doesn't tell me that it's cut you off. So I just thought you were all being really quiet and were just listening to me.
Sorry. I mean, I thought you could hear us. I don't know why I thought. I don't know.
Yeah, I assumed
Right.
you
If
could
I
hear us.
can't hear no, I can't hear you.
Right.
When it
Are
does
you
that.
Wait, she can't
Are you
hear us.
ready?
Right, we gotta fix
I
it.
can.
Okay, she can hear us.
Oh, stop it. So, yes, you are of a relevant age.
Yeah, I
Wilfred.
heard that bit. That's what we got up to, I think.
Skip.
So,
Yeah, we heard up to Wilfred coming in, didn't we? With him being of a standard age or something about his school. I don't know.
yeah, he's not got here yet. So the captain obviously explains that Wilfred and their dearly departed son, well, they were of similar age. They were together in school, if that makes sense. So they're hoping that this can be used as a tether to the other side. Well, to strengthen the tether, because they are obviously there and his parents. And they will offer more drinks and stuff like that. And you are waiting for another 10 minutes at this point. You can see there is a fireplace towards the back of the room, and there is a clock set on it, and it kind of ticks. You know, that way that lovely old clocks would do, in that kind of very solid sound. At this point, once again, you do hear the sound of another carriage pulling up outside the door, and it kind of gets a bit quieter as you notice the captain kind of looks through the arch when you see the butler kind of heading through back to the door. After a few minutes, the door is knocked on and opened, and the first person that you see enters, and he moves a little bit further into this as the butler kind of backs up a little bit to allow them room. This taller gentleman, he is tall in a way that maybe about 6'4", but quite thin, really. Almost like someone who was sickly as a child. Like he grew in terms of length, but never really gained. He just looks a little bit like tall and thin and long, like a long man. So
Shut the fuck up.
As he kind of looks you all, he's just looks like an ordinary man, but the impression you do get, he has got dark hair, as in like this rich dark brown, and these brown eyes, much like yourself, Rosa, and your brother. And he is carrying a large bag, and he is dressed in this kind of long coat, which he takes off, of like this very black outfit. He will take his coat off before his hand kind of reaches to the space which is cut off from your view by a wall, and he takes another coat, pulling it forward, and hands it to the butler before he steps aside, kind of looking to all of you, giving a nod, holding this bag in one of his hands. Before you see stepping round more into view into the archway, a woman. She looks to be in her early 20s. Well, early to mid 20s. And the only reason you guess this because she looks a little younger. You can see these large, beautiful lavender eyes that kind of immediately fix you. And there's a second where you, like, looking at her almost like just unsettles you slightly. Like, this does not look normal. But it somehow in her face it just works because she is hauntingly beautiful. Long fair hair is kind of pulled back into this kind of not very complex hairstyle, but is kind of pulled back and pinned away. She kind of looks to each of you, nods slightly, looks towards her assistant who moves further into the room, and goes, "It is a pleasure to meet you all. I am Ophelia Gold. I will be your medium for tonight. I hope everybody is ready."
Mhm.
You're not there yet, Liam. No strange noises.
I'm making strange noise in the carriage on the way there.
Yeah, you are. I made it purposely designed that you would be the last person to arrive. I thought it would be funny. And she's kind of almost holding her hands in front of her, a little bit demure, but she will fix her gaze almost like perfectly on each individual, and you get the impression like she's looking deep within. And she kind of steps forward, and she's wearing this very plain looking dress of deep grey as she kind of moves forward, and you get this distinct impression like she's not hiding but just not wanting to appear more than what she is as she kind of steps in. Looks towards the captain and goes, "Ah, captain," and she'll take his hand like in this sort of very kind way as she kind of holds it and goes, "I hope everything is ready for tonight and your wife is prepared. I wouldn't want to obviously upset her more than our last meeting." And he kind of nods and goes, "Yes, she'll be down shortly. Is there anything we can do?" And she goes, "Oh, well, if you wouldn't mind, if you could all step into the room, I mean, if any, or you can stay here. I'm just going to get prepared, if it's not too much trouble." And you see the gentleman kind of puts the bag down, and he puts it on one of the chairs and begins taking out things. And you can see a kind of sheet of stone, like slate, with a chalk next to it as he places it down. He places a small bell in front of one of the chairs, like more further around from where you're all sitting. He then takes out a deck of cards and places that down. And then finally, he takes a small sheet of very thin, kind of gauzy material and places it down on the table. "Is everybody here, Captain?" And he kind of shakes his head. "Oh, well, okay. That's fine. I don't mind a little bit of chatter, I guess. Would you all like to introduce yourselves to me, if that's not too much problem? It would mean that when we obviously enter into the seance, it would make it easier for me, really." "And you would be," and she kind of steps up towards Rosa a little bit. "Miss?"
I'm Rosa Perkins.
Mhm.
I am an explorer of sorts. I've been to many places.
"Oh,
Nice to meet you.
The pleasure's mine. And she'll kind of like take your hand as well, and she looks at you very deeply and goes, And she kind of smiles towards you a little bit, a smile of slight pity but warmth as well. Before she kind of takes her hand away, brings it a little bit closer back to her body and goes, and then moves up, and then we'll head towards the Reverend, and kind of tilts her head slightly and goes, Father? You would be?
I am the Reverend Maynard Bourne, and he's kind of positioned himself so the captain can't see, but he is a cold stare into her.
She kind of nods and steps forwards a little bit and goes, oh. And there's this smile of like a little bit of surprise, but not unwelcome surprise. And she will kind of like nod her head a little bit. I always find it fascinating when a man of the cloth decides to come to one of my gatherings. It is not too dissimilar what you and I do.
I'm here to support my friend. That is why I'm here.
Okay. And then she'll kind of like move to the side to see the captain. Not the captain, sorry. To see Oswald. I do realise we never decided your rank, so I do apologise. You can choose what rank you want.
Just
think-
keep calling him not captain.
I mean, given the age and stuff, it probably makes sense if he's probably just standard dog's body
About to.
private.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Because the thing is, he's only like out of character. He's 28, so he's
Oh yeah.
office. Like at the very most, he would maybe be a sergeant. But I think it makes more sense to just be dog's body.
He probably would be a sergeant. He's probably been in the army for 10 years. You're usually something by
Yeah,
that
because
point.
anything above sergeant, really, it especially in this time period, is restricted for the upper class.
Yeah.
Like it didn't matter
Sergeant
how you
is
said.
fine.
So we'll be a sergeant.
Yourself, sir?
Your name's Laszlo, Oswald Laszlo. I am a sergeant here for the greater metropolitan area of London. Or at least one of. A pleasure.
Keeping us all safe.
Thankfully, as it stands, the Empire has no enemies for which for me to stand against, so thankfully I am not required at the moment, but I am there just in case.
Protection, even if it is not needed, is always a good thing. You want to make sure it's there, just in case.
Certainly. Deterrence is
She
the
kind of
best.
nods. Exactly. And she'll, like I say, she kind of nods before stepping back a little bit. And like I say, her hands are kind of like grasped in front of her a little bit. You can see that she is slightly uneasy, and but like I say, her gaze does land on each of you, and there's each time that she gets that closer, you see like the beginning of a small smirk, but she will kind of temper it down a little. She moves back and heads towards the chair at the centre. And at this point, you then hear another heavy knock on the door. In amongst, obviously, all the talking, another carriage has arrived outside. The butler goes to the door again before opening it to lead in another gentleman, and he goes, "Good evening, sir. This is you, Wilfred."
Yes, hello.
Are you here to
Hello.
also take part in this?
Yeah,
reading?
the seance, yeah.
Okay,
That's what I'm here for, I think. That's what I'm going to be called for.
okay. And he does kind of take a few steps back at this, letting you into the door. Your coat, sir?
I'll take off my lab coat. It's a
Okay.
bit dirty, but it doesn't. It'll be fun if I think, won't he?
I'll be honest, Liam, I was more expecting you to go, no, I'll keep it.
No, if you want the coat, you can borrow it for a bit.
So he takes the lab coat and kind of holds it for a second. And you guys are all seeing this, but like I say, you can most of the time you're only seeing the butler before they kind of step into view, unless you are towards the other side of the table, which is where she's kind of setting up at this point. And you then see led into the room after the door has been closed behind you. Well, what do they see, Liam, as you step into view?
Well, I see somebody in their 30s. Well, I'm just turned 30, but yeah. They're unshaven, a little bit scruffy. They've got long dark hair, blue eyes, and he'd have a long lab coat on, but that's now gone. The butler took it.
Does he still look like a scientist of sorts? Without his lab coat? What's he got underneath it?
Oh. Excuse
As
me.
in, like, right, I'm hoping he's not coming naked. Like, we won't see the lab coat anymore, so what are we seeing?
Well, he's just kind of got just black trousers on and just a shirt underneath. He's nothing special. Like he turned up in his work clothes.
Got any little tools with him or gadgets?
No. Just turned up as is.
And at this point, the butler will kind of nod towards you all. You see the captain stands up as the butler leaves to go and store away your coat and probably head to wherever the servants go. And the captain steps up and comes to shake your hand and goes, "It's good to see you again, Wilfred.
It's good to see you too.
We haven't seen you since the funeral."
Oh, yeah, it was a bit sad. What have you been up to?
You know, retirement.
Yeah, retirement.
Looking after
I always
my
tried the money
wife.
to retire.
Mm-hmm. You're a young man. There's many of years before you retire.
I can
How's
still dream,
work?
though.
Yeah.
You know, same old. Somebody comes, you need a bit of help. Sort of help doesn't work, you know, just stick him away where nobody can see him.
Liam isn't supposed to be in the Lovecraft universe. I've made this decision.
Sorry, say that
like
again.
an anomaly.
Did you say that again?
Okay, somebody comes, we try to help him. We can't help him, we just stick him away. Then try again another time.
Is this what you've just said?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Oh my God, Liam.
Oh my days.
So,
I feel like I need to make everybody's roll a sanity check, but we're not going to yet.
So, you don't believe in the afterlife at all, then?
Well, there's an afterlife, yeah. Well, I think there is anyway.
Oh, sorry. Maybe I should make some introductions. Everybody, this is Wilfred from Wang. He is a medical practitioner of sorts at Bedlam Hospital.
Hello.
You practice medicine.
Yeah.
Right.
It shocks me a bit too, to be honest, sometimes.
That is because you probably held the wrong end of the stick. I'm sorry, I was trying to do some gallows humor. It did not work. I do apologize.
Yeah.
I have heard that or seen that electroshock therapy is a common practice currently, or is about to be. Might be a bit early for that. Carry on.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a bit. You just.
Electricity is just happening at this point.
Yeah.
Sounds
if
like
that
the
makes
kind
sense.
of thing that
Rose,
Wilfred
Rose,
years.
we'll stick with the good old lobotomy.
I feel like that's
That
the
was
kind
even
of
later.
Oh,
That was
is
even
it?
later.
No,
Oh.
they're probably putting people in cold and hot baths repeatedly after each other. We'll get into Bedlam's talk a little bit later.
Yeah, we
But
will.
yes.
The Reverend will just be a worthy cause seen to those that are afflicted.
Mhm. Yes, Wilfred was always the smart one of the duo of him and my son back in school. It is good to see that you found a fine profession, if a little misguided.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm doing okay, I might not be smart, but he's got a job.
Okay.
Better you don't end up in a workhouse or a poorhouse or even, a debtor's.
No. You don't want to be a wandering vagrant, and it's good tending to the ill.
Yeah, we tend to help them, but sometimes they're just beyond help.
It must be tough on your soul, she says at this point, kind of like, and you all turn around to see that she has stepped quite close. Ophelia has.
Yeah.
To see that sort of torment.
Well, it is to start with, definitely can lock up away, It has a sight out in mind.
Well, I'm sure you do yourself a disservice, my friend. I'm sure you are bolstered by the compassion of of Jesus himself. Him who tended to the sick and the poor.
But not really. If he tended to the sick, wasn't he now helping us out? We have sick that needs help. Why does he come back again?
And isn't it a question of if they are ill, how can a God stand by and let that happen? But I do believe there is a God, Reverend. And I do believe that there is always hope for all, and those who, unfortunately, are afflicted, as you say.
Yes, well,
places are needed for them.
Lord provides. There's the ill. The Lord has provided Wilfred with the spirit in his heart to tend to them and to help them.
Mm-hmm. On the discussion of spirits, shall we? And the captain kind of like stands up and goes, "Yes, please excuse me. I'm just going to get Margaret. I'll be back in a moment." Not Margaret. Sorry, I do apologize. Millicent. Sorry. It's because I can see I've got like a list of obviously random NPC names just in case I was going to need it at any stage. In case you ask, like, who do you serve? You get my drill. DMs.
Wait, so you're
Fellow
telling
keepers of arcane lore.
Wait, so you're telling me that you don't name everything in advance just in case? You make shit up so it's not real?
I name big NPCs, but I have Liam in this game.
Yeah, but so you're telling me, Rose, that there are some people that are just wandering around without names, that you just wait until we talk to them?
Okay, Danny. I cannot wait for your next game. I am going to make you suffer.
Sarcastic.
I know he is.
Or am I?
All these characters just appear out of nowhere when pulled out your arse.
Yeah, totally. I've not prepared at all. I didn't just prepare an opening monologue. Okay.
Stop getting teased. Let's get back on track.
Yes.
Oh, no, that monologue was great.
So, thank you. At this point, the captain will leave the room, and and Ophelia will kind of stand there and go, "Please, everybody, take a seat." You can see, like, towards the back of the room, her assistant that entered is kind of standing there a little bit, has put away the bag, kind of stands there with his arms kind of behind at the bottom of his back, clasped together as he stands there watching. Please, take a seat. If you feel anything drawn to any seating specific arrangement, it may be for a purpose. Please, and she'll kind of like gesture towards the seat next to her. I assume you all sit down at the table.
I was going to say, yeah,
Mhm.
Oswald will sit down at the table. And...
Yeah, let's take a seat.
Perfect. So as everyone's kind of sitting down, eventually, you do see the captain and his wife. Captain return and his wife enter. Much like her husband, she has gone slightly grey, but seems to be a little less completely grey as her husband is. These kind of streaks are through her darker hair. She looks to be also, she's more in her 50s in terms of age. She has unfortunately got strong lines, and you seem to see her being quite drawn in features. It's like someone who is currently going through a deep sadness can only be. She is also in mourning colours, wearing a long black dress with, his skirt hits the ground as she kind of moves into the room, and kind of looks to you all as the captain goes, "Oh, everybody, this is my wife Millicent." And she kind of looks to each of you, gives you a small nod, her handkerchief kind of coming up in front of her mouth for a second. And she goes, "I am very thankful you are all here," and will step further into the room, looking to each of you. "Reverend, I am
Millicent.
so glad that you've come." She'll kind
How
of
are
like take your hand a little bit.
You can sort of take you or do like the 2-hand thing, but like, how are you doing?
"I will be fine. If I could only hear his voice one more time. You know, Reverend?
Hmm.
Lo-
Hmm. He just makes a sort of
losing.
like a noise of acknowledgement, like warm, but like, yeah, he didn't want to say anything.
I cannot describe the pain in my soul at losing my son." And she kind of looks at you. "I wouldn't give a day up of his life, but it is so bittersweet, each memory. I am sorry. I don't mean to put a dampener on this. Hopefully we can speak to him." And she kind of nods her head a little bit, gives your hand a slight squeeze before she kind of moves away.
Yeah.
"Wilfred," and this is kind of a little bit of a sad smile, if that makes sense, because you get the impression like this is her son's close school friend, you know? They were children together. She kind of steps forward. "I hope all is well, Wilfred. How are you doing?" "Wilfred, how are you doing?"
I'm doing okay. You're getting by.
"Okay." She'll move on, and this time move over to Hugo and Rosa. And Hugo immediately steps forward and will take her hand as she kind of like goes to take his and goes, "It's so good to see you again, Millicent. We were so glad." And he kind of like moves one hand across to gesture to his sister. "Both of us were that you have invited us today to take part in this. So happy." And he'll like grasp both her hands, and she kind of nods a little bit knowingly before stepping away and going, "I'm glad to see you are both well, and thank you for coming. I'm hoping maybe you can shed some insight from your travels after this has taken place. I'd love to hear how you did on your last expedition. Maybe something to brighten everything up after." And he'll kind of nod and go, "Oh yes, and Rosa?"
Rosa?
And kind of gesture towards you a little bit.
I'm sure we can put together something.
Mhm.
It's a pleasure to meet you again.
Of course. And she'll kind of take your hand a little bit, nod, before moving over to the captain and going, to the sergeant. "It's good to see you again, Laszlo."
It is. If only it was in better circumstances, but It is good to see you looking better than you were. And hopefully you will get better with time.
I know. It's I do appreciate all of you coming, and I am sorry to be so glum. As you kind of like move towards the table, and once again the captain will move, and everybody is seated at this point, with Ophelia kind of sitting there. She goes, "Is everybody ready? I cannot make light, really, of what you are going to experience here tonight. If something reaches out, I hope that it is something that we would be welcoming towards. Spirits are lonely in some cases, and would wish for nothing more than to have one taste of life. They will be drawn towards us, but I can request, please, whatever you may see, do not break the circle. Do not move away. Please remain seated." She kind of looks to you all. Please take each other's hands.
Subtly before he takes the hands of the people next to him, Maynard will sort of grip like this very plain wooden cross across like around his neck, like a necklace, and then he sort of out across his shirt so other people can see, and then he'll hold the hands of the people next to him.
Oswald will just quietly grab the hands of the people to his sides.
So as each you got take each other's hands directly to across from Ophelia. We'll start going round the circle. Next to Ophelia, directly to her left, sits Hugo. He immediately takes his sister's hand to his left and Ophelia's hand. Next to Hugo, as I have said, to the left is his sister. Then the Reverend. Directly opposite is the captain's wife, Millicent. Then the captain, Oswald, and then Wilfred. As each person grasps the hands, she kind of just bows her head slightly. Please, this should not be frightening. As we call out to the other side, hello? She kind of moves her head to the right. Hello? She seems to be peering a little bit off to the right, but more in a way of like someone who's searching for something. Her head switches to the left. She kind of tilts it a little bit. I can't hear you too well. Would you mind speaking up a little? Oh,
Were you talking to us?
she kind of like tilts her head back to you. I'm sorry, no, my guide was trying to talk to me. He says that there's somebody here. But she doesn't know whether he will listen. She's trying to call out.
Who is?
I don't know, I can't see her. It's like she does not want to be seen. And she kind of like, you can see her, she's kind of moving her head a little bit, like looking around the room, trying to look for somebody. Her hands are almost becoming a vice grip on Hugo's and Wilfred's hands. Like to Wilfred, you can feel like she is holding on tight. Can you Can you come a little closer? And she kind of takes a moment for a second before she looks, and she's looking like between between the two siblings to her to her left, sorry. She kind of looks, and her eyes track slowly above your heads until it stops just above the head of Reverend. And she's just staring. Ophelia is. These kind of wide lavender eyes as she sits there and stares. I don't know. Oh, sorry?
I was going to say, I'm assuming we don't see anything.
Oh, no. Your eyes are all kind of like, I'm guessing, following her motion.
Yeah,
you cannot see anything at this point. And she's kind of sitting there going, she's just staring, and she looks to be going quite sad as like someone who's listening to something. And she goes, I don't know. I could maybe try. She wants to say she's sorry. And she's looking like right in your eyes at this point, Reverend.
He's just staring back at her. He isn't saying anything.
Her eyes kind of like, she's frowning slightly, but in that way that someone who is listening to something in a way that is just like sad, like almost this kind of slight pity kind of takes over her face, and she goes, I know. At that point, her head darts immediately to the right, and she looks a little scared at this point, and she goes, no, get away. And you can hear like a breath catching in her throat, and you almost all see, well, you don't see anything other than the hair across the top of Oswald's head just kind of slightly, ever so slightly, like a gust of air, very gently, like something has tried to reach out and just missed, as she fixes her gaze, and this time you see anger and forceful determination in her eyes before it eases again. She kind of settles down. A little unwanted guest. Sometimes things from the other side are not quite human.
Not human? And what are they?
With death, everything dies at one time or another in our world that we know of. But there is more. Just in the same way that the Reverend believes in the heavens and the hells. Throughout history, there have been different sects of belief, whether it may be Tartarus and the Greeks, the gods, or maybe little fairies from Irish folklore. There has always been the other. And all of those that once died, over time they may forget what they were, become twisted, hateful, darker than what you may see. And they wanted to get in, but we must maintain the circle. She kind of looks around again, looking at each of you before she goes, would you mind? Would you mind calling out for Alfie? She looks towards Millicent. My guide is calling. At this point, she looks shocked, kind of taken aback a little bit. Ethel? What? Ethel? No. A hand, and she goes to, and her hands are like vice grip. She goes to let go, and then, but before resuming her thing, what? No. And at this point, you see her head snaps back completely. The kind of rigidity in her body as she begins to like shake viciously. Before she head snaps forward, and bursting from her mouth, this spew of black sludge just kind of vomits onto the table. At the same point, all the candle light seems to be blown out in one hit. As she kind of stands there and goes, looking at each of you, this kind of wide-eyed glance, not really seeing this bubbling black mess descending from her chin. Help. Help me. And she slumps forward into the thing. At that moment, immediately, the captain gets up from the chair, dropping the hands inside of him. The assistants rush forwards and kind of grabs the prone body of this person, of Ophelia, picks her up, and will take her into the other room. The captain and Millicent following very shortly before the captain comes back into the room after being like ushered out a little bit. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Shall we get another drink, maybe? I think a drink would be good. Can everybody roll a sanity check for me, please? First roll.
Let's see.
Yay! How do I roll that?
Is that right?
So, yes, on your character sheet. Oh, shit.
Where was this? Sorry.
So, on your character sheet, you have the ability to, I believe it is, click sanity, and that should roll your sanity for you.
I don't know what the
Which-
24 versus
which
35
tab is
means.
that?
I mean,
Quick sanity.
Hannah, you've just done it. Where did you do it?
I just clicked on sanity on Cthulhu. It's at the top on mine.
Yeah, you
just
passed, Hannah.
I got hit points, magic points, and sanities underneath it. I presume that's a success. I don't know what the numbers are. I mean,
Bear
Oh,
with me
yeah.
a second.
Well, you've got to roll.
We found it.
You've got to roll like under the thing, haven't you? And obviously,
Yeah.
your number was a 35, and you rolled a 24. Liam rolled
Okay.
100 out of 100.
Wow,
I rolled a 98.
Oh, yeah.
oh, so I've
We will
got
get
the
to that in a
lower
minute.
sanity level, and yet still somehow passed.
Hey, Ben, you got a hard success. Like
Yes.
you've seen demons. You know this shit.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
you
Just give me-
Reverend, I
You've grown.
suppose.
Bear with me a second, because we are going to get into it. I've just had to refresh because none of those rolls came through for me. So, the way that Cthulhu sanity works is basically when you're exposed to something that is different to the norm, whether it is seeing the lifeless body of a friend or seeing something otherworldly, just times when we know it doesn't make sense. I will ask you to do a sanity roll. Based on whether you succeed or fail will depend on the number of sanity points I'm going to make you lose. So, Reverend, you're
Mhm.
able very quickly to determine, well, bear with me a second. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm having such an effort. There we go. Oh, okay. Reverend, like I say, you
Yes.
are able to determine there must be some trickery to this. You are fairly certain that this is witchcraft of some sort, whether it is trickery or whether she is a witch of some sort. You are able to quickly determine this is exactly what you were looking for. It does not phase you.
He's like he was like enough of this kind of thing, and he wasn't. He was just angry. Like he's got this anger inside, and he was like he was just thinking like people know I'm widowed. She's just she was just trying to deceive me. Like it's just this anger that's keeping him going.
Perfect. However, can you please mark off 1 point of sanity loss, Rosa?
Oh.
Not you yourself.
Mm.
You got hard success, so 0 for you. You're pretty sure. You're just angry. Rosa, you've seen strange things before, but this was so close to you that even then you do suffer 1 point of sanity.
So
For our so what was your sanity before?
35 out of 35. So do I change it to 34?
Yeah. You should be able to just do it so that you show.
You have to toggle edit mode before you can change it.
Okay.
If you want to, you can just mark it down, and we can deal with that in a minute, and we'll figure out a way to do it. Oh, you've rolled it again.
Yeah,
we'll
I
ignore
did
that.
because I was trying to work out. I'll just ignore it because I was trying to work out how to.
Yeah, you've got to click the edit
Next.
mode. That's all.
Let's find out what happens to Oswald. Oswald, can you roll a d6, please?
I don't like where this is going.
You lose 4 points of sanity.
God fucking damn it.
This is the first time you have ever encountered something like this. And this hits hard. This is something that you're not prepared for. You are prepared for everything, but not this. You've heard stories, and most of it seems to be tricks of the light, gusts of wind, little floating cloths, that sort of thing. But that was a woman vomiting black sludge. And you don't think she was ill. Let's go for our nurse. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I feel like you're not ready. Let's roll. Let's roll a d8 for you. Let's see what happens. You've seen all manner of things. You've seen men and women screaming their hearts off, driven to madness. You have seen into the very depths of despair. Suddenly it reminds you of literally everything, all of it in one time, and you hear this high-pitched whine sound, and you're blinking and you're blinking, and all you can look at is the sludge on the table. The sludge on the table. You lose 5 points of sanity, but can you also roll, what would it be? A d10 for me, please. So what happens in Call of Cthulhu is if you lose 5 sanity points in one go, you suffer from a bout of madness as your body tries to assimilate what is going. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. No, before that, roll a d100. I do apologise. I've gone a step too fast.
92.
Mm.
Okie dokie. What's your intelligence?
65.
Okay. You still take the 5 and you still do it. But your mind basically shuts down effectively. You just go, whoop. Big doors come down. I'm not looking at it. This is not real, etc. You know what it's like when you're having a bad day and you just basically go, I'm going to deal with that later. Door comes down, you know? Pop it in a box, lock it. But your bout of madness would be, what did you roll?
You rolled 3.
I love that you're the first one to have a little bit of insanity. I will give you the option right now. Call this a little deal with the devil. I will give you the chance to re-roll it again, but at a later date I might do something you don't like.
No, I'll just take it.
Okay. Violence. A red mist of rage descends on an afflictive investigator and they explode in a spree of uncontrolled violence and destruction directed at their surroundings, allies and foes, and
Oh
alike.
my god.
Yeah.
So as you see this black file, you push the chair away. It clatters to the ground. You can feel the heat rising in you, and you're like, I need to get out. This is bloody ridiculous. And, you just lash out. I assume that somebody goes to restrain him to calm him down
Yes.
before he starts hitting people. Yes. That is why I gave you the option to re-roll. If I am offering something to you, it's because it would be bad. I just might do something bad later.
Yeah.
Just, I guess it'd be like, calm yourself, man.
I'll immediately go to.
Yeah, I think we're
Control
both
him.
like taking an arm each and just try to
Hold him back. With the two of you, I don't think it's that much trouble. I won't get you to roll for it because two men, no matter how strong the man is, unless he's a strong man, would probably be effective. So you do this and you restrained back, and eventually you kind of manage to settle your breathing down a little bit, manage to stop feeling the red mist descending. But at the sound of all the clutter and everything, the captain goes, please, this is my home. If you need to, we can move you out of this room. And his hands are kind of shaking as he moves towards the drinks table and fixes himself a decent measure of scotch before knocking it back.
What came over you, Wilfred? What are you playing at in someone else's home?
I don't know. It's just kind of came over me.
Things like this don't just come over somebody. Control yourself, man.
I'll try.
Fuck's sake. Sorry.
Well, you just get over it. Don't figure it or not. I can try, but I can't make any promises.
Okay. FYI. Okay, so just to give you a bit of a heads up and how this will work. Your character has just had a bout of madness. You're probably not going to be that comprehensible that fast. You're probably not going to be that just be like, I don't know what came over me, guys. I just had a moment. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Do you get what I mean? I maybe should have led with that. I'm sorry, William.
It's the fact he's always fucking cheerful as well. I know. Silly old me. I'm a silly sausage.
I don't want you to be dealing with all sorts of death and dark situations. I mean, you shouldn't let this kind of thing get to you. You certainly shouldn't be attacking people in in their own homes.
Someone at your own house.
What do you have? What do you have? What do you have to say for yourself?
Sorry?
At this point, Hugo kind of goes over to the drinks table.
And I'll be like, where'd you get this one? No.
At this point, like I say, Hugo moves over to the drinks table and will get a drink and will hand it over to the clearly just strange group and will start handing out drinks as the captain kind of his hands that are he'll move over to the fireplace and kind of rest his hand on it a little bit, going, this was my son's friend. We were not. What was that? Reverend, do you know about strange things like God? And was that a trick of the light? And he kind of like, he's not looking at the pool of black sludge that's currently festering on the table.
Can I look at the sludge?
You can.
I'm not sure
This
this is a
is-
good idea, but I'm going to be looking at this sludge to examine what it is that's come out. I still think this is some kind of trick that they've just kind of put on a show.
So you can either do a spot hidden check, so that's basically like an investigation or perception check, or you can tell me if you want to do another check and why.
Right, what should you say?
Spot hidden. It's like an investigation perception-y check. It's for you to try and determine if it is more than just black sludge.
Yeah, I'm trying to determine what it is. Is it like sick bile, or is it some kind of something
Oh,
or is it something that she's just brought in, put in her mouth, and then spat out somehow? I don't know. It's like
okay.
Like,
Give
is
me a
this some
second.
kind of trick, basically, that she's trying to fool with us?
Good idea.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm still in my
I am
head thinking, has she
checking.
just got something black that she kind of put in her mouth and somehow hid somewhere, and then just spat it out at her?
Like a blood capsule.
Yeah.
You can either do a spot hidden, a natural world, maybe? Is there a science? I think there might be a science one. They've all restricted them down. Just bear with me a second. Do you have a specific science skill?
I've got spot hidden, but I've also got natural world. I don't know if that would count. I suppose natural world is kind of anything, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more like tree leaves and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I've got a decent history one, but I don't think history would count in this sense. Do you want to just do a spot hidden?
Yeah.
Did you see that? Hello?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah.
Just waiting on Rose to tell us.
She's not gone again, has she?
Oh
Think so.
no.
Rose! Till I message her. Rose? I'm gonna message you this time.
On Facebook too as well.
Oh dear.
Uh-oh. Spaghetti-o.
Hello.
Hey!
Hey.
Sorry, the heat's kind of having a bit of a problem. It just kicked me out for a minute.
Get some ice cream. That helps heat.
Funny enough, I've got some on the way.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to use ice cream on my computer or my tablet. That's currently having an issue.
Troy,
Oh,
But
you mean
you
the
never know.
device is having an issue, not you? Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, it was just getting a bit hot.
Uh,
But yeah.
Put a
so-
fan on it. What ice cream have you got, Danny?
Well, it's the cinema, the Baskin and Robbins. Mum's gone out to get everyone ice cream, so I'm going to be having sea salt caramel espresso, very
Ooh.
berry strawberry, and midnight chocolate.
Fancy.
Oh,
Yeah, all with cream, chopped almonds, and sprinkles.
I'm sorry, but can I just say how cute everybody is? Because I just got 2 messages from Hannah and Ben going, Rose, you're talking to yourself, and can you hear us? I was like,
And
I said,
me and
I can
Liam.
hear you.
And me and Liam.
Yeah, you did it in the chat here, and they did it on the. It was just because I was like, "Why is my phone telling me? Oh, it's empty." Oh, and you and Liam, yes, everybody immediately went. Rose cannot hear us. Let's.
Yeah, because
tell
you
her."
said
Yeah.
you said last time to tell you.
Yeah.
Right, I won't be nice about you guys doing something nice in the future.
You literally told us.
Also,
It's okay, I get it. It's fine.
thank you. I'm just going to do that really quickly. I spotted something.
Yeah, do that really quickly.
Meanwhile, I'm just gonna get a banana split.
You're gonna get to banana split. Okay.
Bananas
So-
and ice cream are great.
Well,
And then-
getting that into tentacles and horror. So looking at this, Rosa, you kind of like you're trying to see what it might be, and you just see this kind of black sludge. And as you're kind of looking and you lean towards it, you cannot see a capsule in the black sludge from what you're looking at. You kind of look around as well, and there doesn't seem to be any vials on the ground, nothing that would show that this was simply held in something and came out of it. It's also quite a bit, like it's covering a suitable amount of table space.
Do I work out what it is, or what it's likely to be, or I'm guessing you're going to tell me it's otherworldly stuff?
No, the best you can guess is it's black sludge. Without doing actual chemical testing, you're unlikely to find out what it is.
Okay.
Unless you've encountered black sludge that somebody has vomited. It could be an illness, something mixed with blood, but you would need to properly identify it using some sort of chemical.
I was trying to think, like, does it look like dried up blood? Because sometimes if people vomit up blood, it can go dark and tarry like that. But
Just
I'm
get
guessing
the-
not.
No, I'm afraid black sludge at the moment. Even though that is a very good roll, it's just it's difficult to tell without proper science.
Is the young miss feeling okay after whatever it is that's happened? This is speaking to the captain.
He
The
kind of
police
like frowns and
begin
he
to-
was like, when I was in there, they ushered me out of the room. I can go and ask if that'll help. Bear with me a moment. At this point, he kind of like puts his glass down and looks to be stealing himself before heading back through the door, leaving you all together. And Hugo goes, "Wow, blimey! It's been a long while since I've seen like a magic show like that before."
I don't think I've ever seen anything quite so disgusting like that.
It was not pleasant.
Really can't say I know what this stuff is. She says, she's like looking at this, poking it with.
I would
I
probably
wouldn't be touching
suggest.
it. I wouldn't touch it directly, but she'd be poking it with some.
I would suggest we leave
stick
that
to it.
for the staff of the house to deal with.
The two explanations are equally disturbing.
Well, if you don't inspect the evidence, then you're never going to work out what it is. She's got like a kind of like she'll get some of the, I don't know what there is available on the table because she won't be touching it directly. There'd be some kind of cutlery or whatever.
There are still the items that they brought in with them on the table: the blank slate with the chalk, the deck of playing cards, the piece of material are still all on the table.
Yeah, so she'd have like something that she'd be poking it with, see how it moves, to see whether it looks like part of her inspection. She'd be like, well, you see, if you don't see it, if you don't inspect it properly while it's there, then you'll never know what you'll never have any chance of knowing what it truly is. She's still kind
Honestly,
of poking it, inspecting it.
Rosa, I've seen people do all sorts of strange things in the world. It's probably she's ingested some sort of substance at some point today that's made her have a bit of a dippy tummy, you know? Maybe she is an opiate user. We never know.
You're not the least bit curious, Hugo? I mean, I've never seen a substance like this before.
Probably for good measure, dear sister.
Whatever it
Young
is.
women like yourself shouldn't see things like that.
Whatever
And he'll
it-
kind of like try to usher her away from the table that you are currently trying to poke at black sludge that's just somebody's just spewed
I'll
up.
be like, I'm quite capable of looking after myself, dear brother. Although, fortunately for you, I don't think I'm going to learn anything more from this sludge, what I have here at this table. And she'll move away and do as she's asked. Still thinking.
Sorry.
Though.
Yeah. Sergeant, you were saying something?
Don't matter now. It's gone past the point.
Sorry.
All right.
After a couple of moments, the door will once again open, and you see the captain come out. This time with the assistant, who clears his throat and goes. Ophelia is once again awake. She apologizes for anything, any and he kind of looks at the black sludge on the table. Rudeness that you may have experienced tonight. She would like to invite you all to her rooms tomorrow, and he'll give basically the location of where she's based, to have a discussion with you all. Apologies again. She is quite shaken, to say the least, and is not fit for company currently.
Has anything like this happened before?
And he's kind of looking around a little bit, and he looks, for a man who's so tall, he does seem to kind of like shrink in on himself a little bit. He's kind of looking at you all, and doesn't really, one of them people that kind of looks at your cheek when they're speaking to you rather than looking at you in the eyes, like they've learned you still need to look in that direction, but he's not quite comfortable with it. As he goes, not really. I mean, Ophelia has a gift, that is for certain, but I've never seen her deal with that. That is the first time that she is.
Do you have any explanation as to what this was? What is this stuff on the table?
I do not know. All I know is that she is shocked.
Seemed like something dark. Tried to get at her.
She called out her sister's name. I do not know why. She is only just woken and she seems to be quite shaken. We are going to, and he kind of looks towards the captain and goes, are we all right to stay for a few moments and call the cab? And he kind of nods, the captain does. Of course, of course. You are all more than welcome to stay. I am sorry this was not a better night. And thank you for being here. Maybe we should do this again, maybe when the young miss is doing much better. And the assistant kind of slowly nods his head, like kind of dips it in, like yeah, of course. Sorry, Reverend?
That's just I'll posit the question, should this be done again? There seems to be a danger, a spiritual danger.
And if it is something else, then surely no. Given what's happened after you left, probably best not. Never mind.
What were you Liaming at?
Sorry, I just read what he's written.
Oh, someone lick it. Yeah.
Said that a while ago.
Yeah, I've only just noticed.
I was confused for a second then.
Yeah, yeah, I did kind of wonder.
I thought I was muted then as well, so I was like, oh shit.
But yeah, no, like Oswald kind of half looks at Wilfred almost as if he was going to suggest maybe he takes a look at her, and then that's when you hear him kind of go, no, given what happened, maybe not.
I do not mind. He'll look to the assistant, the Reverend was like, I do not mind visiting the lady at her chambers tomorrow. Maybe I can advise her to stop this madness.
Thank you. Yes. If you head there tomorrow and meet her around, late morning, 10 o'clock or so, she will probably be in better spirits.
Would you mind if I joined for that?
You asking?
You are all welcome. Were you asking the assistant, sorry, or Reverend?
Yeah, both. effectively.
Right. Well, it was like everyone was invited.
Hmm.
I've just read the chat, Danny.
What? What did I do?
Is anyone else watching the stream?
What did I do?
No, I'm not. I'm not watching the screen now.
I am almost impressed.
Go on, Rose. Read it out. It wasn't even that impressive.
Okay. So, what Danny has said is, mate, last
my
time I
God.
tried hunting the fog, I had it lined up and fired my rifle at it. You know what happened? I missed it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Missed as in M-I-S-T, just for
Yeah,
Hannah's
we know.
just for Hannah's sake, because she's not seeing it.
Why are
Yeah.
there always puns?
Oh, because we're a punny group. So yeah, the assistant will kind of like nod his head. You are all more than welcome if you would like to attend. We can do some tea or something.
So long as we are not imposing, I would be happy to take up your well wishes and accommodation for the evening.
Yes, she would like to extend it out as an apology for tonight. And he'll kind of like nod again. Safe travels before he enters back into the room where she is currently being kept. The captain goes, I am sorry, all of you. I did not think it would be like that.
So,
No.
I don't think any of us here expected to have such a questionable evening.
No.
But it is not your doing per se, so I don't think you are required to apologize.
Thank you. Of course, you are more than welcome to have some drinks and stay for a little while, if you wish.
It would be
If not, we can call you your carriages.
would
Get
be
you off home.
very well in wishes, and I will happily take up a spot of tea before heading out for the night.
Mm-hmm. At this point, he will kind of gesture towards the butler who has come to inspect what has been going on. Like good servants were doing, you have noticed that there has been maybe some movement in the background, only the slightest bit of like a scullery maid has gone to go and get some stuff to be able to sort out the mess. And he's taking kind of, they quickly take the tablecloth away from the table and are holding it right in front of them very gingerly, like towards the back of the house. Some tea is eventually brought in, set before you all, and you are able to imbibe in whichever way you wish to do. Is there anything you guys would like to talk about, talk to the captain, or anybody else about? You do notice after, if you stay for a little while, you will notice them leaving, the assistant and the young woman, who does seem to be, as you can see as they pass through the archway, she does not stop. She doesn't really acknowledge all of you. The assistant does, but the assistant is almost like shielding her from your view.
Can I try
She
and get
does
a
seem
look
to
at
have.
him?
Yeah, go for it. Spotted him, please.
Spot hidden, mate. Fucking easy.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, mate.
Whoa. Hard success. You get a quick glance and you can see she is pale face, like really pale. You can see at the corner of her eyes there is like almost this ever-present tear. There are streaks of it kind of move that have like, you know, if someone's had a real big cry and they get those like streaks that stay around afterwards a little bit, like little lines where she's been crying. Is all I need to get to.
Yeah, so it's clear she
has-
looks very visibly ill.
Distraught, is visibly distraught. Not ill. She doesn't seem to have the pallor of sickness. It is the pallor of someone who is going through deep shock. if that makes sense. She has obviously cleaned herself as best as possible, even though you do notice that the front of her dress is slightly stained with that black sludge, but she has taken it from her face. And as her coat is handed to her, you can see her hands visibly shake. She takes it and they exit. But you're able to have tea. Is there anything you wish to do, to talk to, or shall we move through and you guys can head out to your various homesteads, make your way out back into the fog?
I think
Anything?
the Reverend will just sort of be talking to the captain and being like, you must stop by the congregation again. I
Mhm.
understand how difficult it all is, but you'll find solace with us.
I will suggest it to Millicent that maybe we come to a few more sermons of yours.
Yes. Nothing can help, but it might just ease the burden a little.
Thank you, Reverend. And thank you for coming tonight.
It's
I
okay. It's for
appreciate
you,
it.
and it's okay. It's just for you and Millicent.
Mhm.
And then he also, I think that's probably as he's leaving. That's probably what he says.
So as he goes to leave, he does say, "Thank you again. I do appreciate it.
Right.
Next time, hopefully, Frank will return as well. We did invite him, but he's off gallivanting again. You know Frank to be their younger son, which it does seem a little surprising, but you do know him to be a lad about town, always doing what he wants. Off he goes, kind of deal.
Grief afflicts us in different ways. I'm sure Frank will return and be comfort to you.
Thank you again, Reverend. And he kind of, as he goes to shake your hand, gives you like a hearty slap on your shoulder as well, like in a proper.
Yeah, the Reverend does like
Yeah.
the two hand shake goodbye, and he's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Excellent. So as each of you, one by one, leaves the home, making your way back to your rooms, to your small homesteads, throughout the city, to your grand houses, soon night will come for you all. You can spend a little time relaxing, shaking, pouring yourself a stiff drink, or heading back to wherever you may call home to do whatever you need to do. I'm going to suggest we take a quick break because it is rather
Yes.
hot and people might need drinks or two.
Yeah.
Little bio breaks.
All
Ice
right
cream.
then. All right then.
Is that all right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, if not, talk amongst yourselves. But yeah, we will be back in a moment. Obviously, chat, you can talk to Danny. Danny will probably still be here because he does not move for 4 hours every
I was
session.
bored and kinda horny,
Oh,
figured I'd pick up a
no,
book from the
Ben.
Necronomicon. Thought that I should take a look. I did the chance and did the dance, and much to my surprise, I found an ancient deity with tentacles and glowing eyes. He poured some wine and said, "Let's have some fun." But now Cthulhu knows why they call me the Deep One. I fuck Cthulhu good. I thought I'd have some cosmic horror. Turns out I'm a cosmic whore. I fuck Cthulhu good. No casualties or sacrifices. Only thing getting buried here was wood.
I've never heard that fully before. That's fucking amazing. Ah, but no, Rose is right. When you've streamed as long as I have, you learn to kinda just hold it in. Just hold it in. You go for the 4 hours. Jobs are good. Ah. But no, I'm glad you're doing all right, God. It is good to see you around again, man. Because, like I said, I know the past couple weeks you've been around a couple of times, and before that you had been fucking missing, mate. Fucking missing. I did wonder if like you'd gone brown bread on me. He was here in spirit. Yes, yes, you were, bud. But it is always better to have you in actuality. At least I prefer it. Yes. Actuality is good. What we're playing, God, it's like Dungeons and Dragons. It's a tabletop RPG. But this one is called Call of Cthulhu. It involves, it's mostly 19th stroke turn of the century, so it's like the 1860s through to like the 1930s, maybe, that sort of time period. And it deals with a lot of occultism, Cthulhu, a lot of like spirits and demons and monsters and things from beyond the veil. You tend to play as just normal people, and it's not heavy combat based like D&D. It's a lot more investigative based and sanity and things like this. We're at the very start of the first part of the campaign that Rose is running for us, and I've never played it before, so I can't really tell you much more than that. Rose would be the one to ask, but it seems pretty good. It's something I've always wanted to try. Yeah, it's D&D, but set in turn of the century, Industrial Revolution type era, with all occultism and rituals and monsters and fuck around things and stuff like that. Yeah. Sound good? You like that? You like that? I mean, for example of what Cthulhu is, just look underneath me in the fucking stream, bud. That shit's Cthulhu. Yeah, God. Industrial Revolution, mate. Industrial fucking Revolution.
In it.
In it, mate. And you're a fucking twat.
It's like hold music, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd never heard of that song until I heard it just. I heard, because when I put it on the list, I only listened to the first part of it.
Yeah, it's good. I've heard it before. It's
yeah,
fun.
I listened up to the point where, now you'll see why I'm called the Deep One. And then I just stopped listening to it because I thought, yeah, that's cool, I like that. So so when you played it, it was the first time actually hearing the entire thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here. I just randomly lost on the way to get a drink.
Is it abnormal of me that I don't go to the bathroom during streams? Because Rose thinks it's abnormal. She makes it sound like I'm a fucking mutant for it. I don't know, man. I'm just a boy. Just means you don't drink enough. Hey, I'm gooey. I'm moist. I'm good. I drink a lot. Thank you very much.
I think I walked back at the wrong time.
Nah, you came back at the great time. What are you talking about? Thank you, Matthew. I will indeed heckle drinks. I mean, there's the problem, though, God. I don't drink beer, dude. I don't drink alcohol, like, at all. So the problem is there, if I did have a mini fridge, which I don't. Yeah, I don't. Actually, that's reminded me. I didn't take my tablets because I'm on antidepressants, God. I'm on the anti-sad boy tablets, which I just reminded myself. My alarm went off when I wasn't home. So even if I, but to be fair, even if I could drink alcohol, I wouldn't anyway. It is
You want to
very
make
much-
sure you do drink enough, 'cause kidney stones are bloody painful.
Yeah, I'm aware. Stuart had kidney stones. Mark cousin did.
Shoot him out of your pee-pee.
Oh no, his had to be surgically removed.
Ooh.
They were that big. But honestly, the kidney stones are probably the best thing that ever happened to him, because that's how they found out about his cancer.
Shit, yeah.
Because, you know, we make jokes with Stuart because he's only got one kidney.
Yeah.
He had kidney cancer, and the kidney stones were the reason why they found it. Because obviously they were doing scans ready to help him, and then saw masses.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So, in a way, although it sucks, it was the best thing that ever happened to him.
It is lucky, but normally they're just painful.
Oh, no, like, when, because the pain he was experiencing was from the kidney stones, like, full on, and, like, he obviously explained it was real fucking bad. What, Liam? No! Put your gun away!
Oh, God. Is he trying, like, is he Asian?
I don't think so.
Why is he Wang, then?
I don't know what picture you might be on about, God, but, I have a personal issue with alcohol because of certain very close relatives that are arseholes when they're drunk, and I am worried I will imitate such things. Like, total truth. I don't want to be anything like that, what I've seen growing up, so I avoid it because I've seen what it does to people very close to me. And it's just a choice. Yeah. I'm not like one of those preacher people. I won't make people around me not drink. I don't care what you guys do. The only time I ever have an issue with people drinking is when they get so far down the line, they stop either becoming arseholes or they get very clingy and gooey, and I'm like, just get the fuck off me. Do you know what I mean? But social drinks and stuff, I'll happily sit with people while they're drinking. I don't mind.
The thing is, God, we Danny's friends, a few of us drink, so you've probably seen our drink. Yeah. If you've seen a picture of him near alcohol,
like, that's probably exactly what it is. Yeah,
he isn't. Yeah, as Danny says, he isn't like getting his hands up trying to slap him away.
No. It's my choice, not everyone else's. That's kind of the point. Unless your drinking becomes an effect on me, it's not my place to really say anything. You guys are all fucking adults, and I'm not your dad yet. But no, that's how it is. Like, I'm pretty chill like that. Like, I don't really. It's not my place to say anything unless it affects me.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Hello, I'm despairing at Liam.
Yeah, Liam's shooting his gun.
Well, he's also called. Why is he called Wilfred Wang? Is he like Asian? And two, he's misspelled it as Wilfred Wand in the Discord.
Yeah, I did notice that.
I wasn't sure.
No,
if
apparently,
I wasn't sure if it was Wand or Wang either.
Yeah,
it's Wang. Wang is one of the names that you can have, a surname that you can have, and he literally got Wilfred Howard Wang, which is basically Willy Wang. Everybody, just wanted to know.
Yeah. Now you guys are back to entertain God. Don't do anything weird with him. He's weird enough. I may as well take the opportunity for a break, considering you've made one. I'll be 2 seconds. Yeah. God, don't do anything weird. You guys don't make God weirder. I'll be back.
So, how is everyone finding it? All okay? Okay? Oh, good. All okay?
Yeah.
Yeah? Good. I mean, it's always going to be a bit slower for the first session as I introduce you to the world. Hannah? Liam, are you enjoying it?
Is Liam even back yet? No. Liam?
I was muted, sorry. Yeah, I'm back. Hello.
How long have you been muted for?
A while.
Oh,
Did you hear all the Willy Wang stuff?
I was answering and he kind of made sense what people were saying.
Exactly, God. You know, he is always like muted.
I mean, That is classic Liam. The dice roll where they are. Screw like the backstory. Screw where I come from. If it says I'm called Wang, I'm called Wang.
That's what the game said.
Yeah, but why have you got a Chinese name?
That's for me to know and you to find out.
Is there actually a reason, or did you just go, oh, because it said I'm called Wang? Wang.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Right.
Did you,
How are
did you
you?
expect an answer out of Liam? Come on.
I knew what yeah. I knew what he was going to say.
I got ice
I
cream.
think he
Yeah.
thought we were. God, I think he thought we were responding to him, so he just didn't quite get that he was muted. But
Mhm.
this happens every game, every session.
Oh, was
every
Liam muted?
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should have
Right.
put that in the beginning. No, Liam is always muted. What would rhyme with muted? Never mind. Anyway,
Yep.
so the next morning you each wake, ready for your time as you were going to go and see Miss Gold. Is there anything you guys would like to do in the morning? Anything that happens? Give us a glimpse into your characters' lives.
I mean, mine's like standard sort of clergy stuff. He might go visit one or two people. He has breakfast, has tea, and that's about it, really.
Going to take care of the old and the sick by giving
Yeah, he
them
might see a few elderly people, that kind of thing.
giving
Yeah.
them some relief, really, as
Yeah,
they.
or just reading to them.
What about Oswald? What does Oswald do in the mornings?
Strong spot of tea in the morning with probably a small piece of breakfast. Probably take a morning walk and hear what news is, because I would imagine he probably doesn't have the disposable income to purchase newspapers, so he'd probably go and hear like if there's any town criers explaining, like giving some basic news of anything going on. Maybe take a walk by the offices where he reports into and just see if there's anything he should be aware of, and just essentially just give himself like a routine of then like cleaning his house and things, because like as military probably he's trained to a point where he's got like a routine of like everything must be spotless and clean as best as it can be,
Mm-hmm.
and probably just prepare everything for when he
Perfectly
returns.
tucked bed sheets.
Yeah.
What about Rosa? What does she do in the mornings?
Typical things you'd expect of a lady of that kind of era. There'd be a lot of preparing. It takes forever to get that dress on for a start, and then do all the makeup and all that kind of stuff. She hates doing it, but it's a thing you have to do.
This is it. You know your brother has already left for the day. He's almost like said to you at one stage, whether it was the night before, that you can take care of this, right, sis? And then giving you a quick moment to basically
I'd probably
telling you
try-
it's done with you.
I'll probably try and visit Athelia if I can before the next event, but I don't know whether that would be possible, just to check on how she is.
I think that's what we're doing, isn't it?
That's what you're going to do at 10 o'clock. You've all been invited to her chambers. And lastly, what about Wilfred? What does he do in the morning?
Gets up, have his breakfast and a cup of tea.
Hides the
And
bodies.
he's a happy boy. Yeah.
I imagine you probably walk out to a small bakery, maybe get a sweet roll that's got like currants buried in it and stuff like that. That's your breakfast.
Wait, we don't have breakfast
Head back in.
provided.
Sorry?
You don't have breakfast provided to us.
You went home.
Oh, wait. I
Do you
thought
think
something
you
was there?
bedroom?
I missed something. Hold on. We went back to our houses, our homes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It is the next day.
The captain discovers Wilfred just still sat there like,
the
I
captain-
know it's the next day. I
Right,
thought
no,
we were
Liam,
putting us up for the night.
The captain invited you to stay for a few hours and like relax at the house, not stay the night.
That's why I got confused before we posted to stay for the night.
This is
okay?
not Dungeons and Dragons.
"Mm,
There is
God."
no nice person who's setting you up for the night. There is no. This is Victorian England. They would not have invited you to stay over. You could stay in a hostel of some sort, a hotel. You could have gone back to your home, stayed in rooms, whatever you wished to do, but you would have not been invited to stay in their home. They probably would not have, without advance notice, those rooms were probably their guest rooms as
Well,
such.
everyone lives in London as well. Like,
Yeah.
you wouldn't expect you just to be like.
Okay, I'll have my tea and toast for breakfast then.
How do you toast?
Well, I would probably have a fire in my house, wouldn't I?
A what?
A
Like
what?
A fire.
Oh,
Like a
I thought you said a fryer.
No, that's fried bread. Just get the fire going. It's probably
that's how you.
it.
Yeah.
No, to be fair, when he said fryer, I was thinking more like the pre-stall title, the fryer.
Oh, God. I'll just get a fryer to come in.
To be fair, that's like one of the least dumb things Liam said. Yeah, he had toast over fire. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's how
that's
it's
fine.
how it happened.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see if he was going to say that he would have a toaster.
I mean, might I point out that sliced bread isn't even invented?
No.
Yeah.
I can still cut it though.
Yeah,
I know,
you
put it on a
still
knife.
got knives.
I was going to say, sliced bread hasn't been invented yet. That's like 10 or something like that.
Mm-hmm, probably.
Yeah, have you just invited sliced bread in this universe? Has Wilfred Wang invented sliced bread?
Too many people cut bread up before me.
Right,
No.
no. No, like
Okay.
people. Right, we got to move on, or else I'm going to lose my shit.
I'm going to go on Wikipedia later and I'm going to change it.
Back to the horror. So each of you spend your mornings in whichever which way before you know that you are to attend to the rooms. I assume you each arrive one by one, attempting to be there for 10 a.m. and can all meet outside. Each of your different carriages, or whether you walk. I assume for some reason Wilfred this time walks. But there is still a heavy presence of fog. It doesn't really lift at this point. In Victorian England, the fog would settle in for days at a time, where it would seem like the change between night and day wouldn't even be present. However, each of you arrive there and are led to a fairly average set of homes. Much like the townhouses that you saw before, this is very similar, but it's not as well kept, not as nice. This isn't a bad part of town, it's just not as nice. This is somewhere where you have a little bit of coin to spend that is above. You have a home, you have rooms. This is not nobility, but it is not the workhouse. Somewhere in between. After knocking on the door, you will see a older woman, maybe in her early 60s, will come and fetch you guys in and take you through. And you can see different doors as you kind of move through. And these look to be much like an apartment building, it seems to be, that you're in, with little bits of sections of the house cut off to each other. Before she gives a rap knock on one of the door, the numbers inside, number 32. She kind of knocks on it, and the door is opened again once by the assistant, and she goes, "Got some people here to see you." And he kind of nods a little bit, looking at each of you, and goes, I'm glad to see you all made it well here this morning. Would you like to come in?" And he kind of like moves to the side and kind of opens it up. And you can see straight in. And this is almost like opening up into what would be the main living space. And this is more what you're expecting when you see a medium of sort. There is various different tchotchkes and different mementos and stuff like that littered throughout this place. As you kind of step inside, you can see all sorts of different candles that have been set up in various different ways. None of them are dripping onto the furniture or onto the floor, but they have been put into like bowls or different placemats and stuff like that. And there is this kind of steady flickering light atmosphere. But like I said, there is a wide variety. The furniture seems to be a little bit hodgepodge, flown together a little. But you do see quickly standing up Ophelia, who kind of looks at each of you and goes, I am a little surprised to see you all, but not. I'm glad you could all make it. Please, take a seat. You can see there are like comfortable chairs, kind of centered around the window space, even though the curtains are drawn to almost like keep out the dullness that's outside. And she kind of like beckons for you all to sit. Can I get you tea?
That would be splendid. Thank you. But I came because I wished to check upon yourself and see if you were doing much better, because you did seem rather traumatized, shook up, as it were, leaving yesterday.
A little. Bram, would you mind? And you see the assistant kind of nods his head slightly before heading over to a small station where you can see near the fireplace. He kind of takes off a tea kettle and begins pouring tea. And she goes, yeah. Well, she wouldn't say yeah to start off with. Apologies. Yes, I was quite taken back by what I witnessed. I apologize completely. I did not mean. I did not think that such vulgarity would happen, and I am ever so sorry to the captain and his wife. That is the first time something like that has really happened before. I am doing much better, thank you.
If you don't mind explaining, what was it that happened?
Well,
it was all very
first,
confusing and happened so quickly.
oh, I understand completely. At first, I saw a woman. She seemed very sad. She looked upon yourself, and she kind of like points towards, or she nods a little bit towards the Reverend. After she left, I saw something darker shift towards yourself. But my guide, she managed to get him away, Lily. Well, Mr. Lillywhite, he's always been there. My guide. And then afterwards, well, I saw Ethel, my sister, completely sodden, with a death mask. I think something has happened to her. I'm sorry. And she kind of like moves a small, like, what's it called?
I'd imagine Oswald's the type of guy that probably has like a handkerchief to hand.
Are you
She'll take
saying that your sister is, as you know, alive?
I mean, before yesterday, I believe so. She. She. I don't know how to say this. My sister and I grew up in. Well, we grew up in a poorhouse. We had no money. My mother, unfortunately, our family generations ago had lost everything, and each generation was born into poverty. After my mother passed, she'd grown quite sick, you see. There are all sorts of debilitating diseases in the poorhouses. We had a debt and we paid it off. My sister, Ethel, older than myself, had to do some things of ill repute in order to ensure our safety. She continued to do this and grew quite uh, accustomed to it. There was no way out, and she paid for us both to survive. It was when I was of adult years that I was able to finally get a standing within the mediumship community. I've always had a gift, always been able to see to the other side since I was a little girl. My sister instead continued her profession. A few days ago, she left. I've not heard from her since. Every now and then we will check in with each other, just to make sure the other is okay. It is a hard world for a woman, especially one who has no money. She did what she had to do, and I fear now something has happened to her. I'm sorry. And she kind of moves the handkerchief in front of her mouth a little bit, her head kind of bowed.
Yeah.
And she's trying to blink back tears a little. I can't imagine what would happen.
If you knew where she was or where she would be, I could go check on her.
Oh, Reverend, I don't mean this to be insensitive at all, but a fine gentleman like yourself would probably not want to go to a place like this. My sister works in
No,
a house full of ladies
I
of the
know.
night. Okay.
I understand, if you read the Bible, Jesus walked with many different people. I do not mind. If it would put you at ease, if it would stop you delving into these things that seem to cause you danger, I'd gladly do it.
And I'm sure it would probably put your mind at great ease knowing your sister is alive and well, continuing the work she does. It would probably put your mind at ease.
I know. It's just there is some comfort in knowing that there are people like yourselves. Like I said, that it was just my mother and my sister growing up, and then when my guide was there, it seemed easier for myself, and I tried to get my sister away from it, but I fear I have been misled or misguided, and it is now too late. Would you help me? Please. At this point, Bram brings over the tea for each of you.
When you say that, I heard the word misled. Do you feel like you've been misled by someone?
Not someone, but misled along the ways of that many of us are. Told one thing when another is meant. I believe that we have all been told a great many things. I think I was going to believe that my sister, seeing as she was now in a house rather than selling her wares on the streets, that she would be safer. And it seems that she is not. I believe that there was some safety. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it is probably just a simple case of the person that you saw happened to look just like your sister, but I'm sure it was merely a trick of your eyes. Again, if your sister has moved herself into her own accommodations and things now, she should be far safer and should have a much better position.
I mean, there are There are things that, as you said, there are things that move in the dark. There are things that mislead us. Maybe
you
it took the
tried-
form of your sister to mislead you.
Have you tried to contact your sister directly?
By what means? Like I say, we will come and visit each other, take walks along the streets. But it is a dangerous place out there for a woman to go by herself. You must understand, Miss
Mhm.
Park.
So when did you last see her?
About a week ago, I think, in total. Like I say, usually every few days we will meet with each other, and she didn't turn up. But I thought it must be for some reason. You know? I thought it must be that she was busy, that she'd found a man who was able to lift her above her station, have her become his personal courtesan.
So let me get this straight. You saw her for your own eyes a week ago, but you were due to meet a couple of days ago, and she did not appear.
Yes.
I
Like
see.
I say, I thought
Is
there must be some explanation for it.
is it unusual she ever skips a meeting?
Every now and then.
Hmm.
Over the years since she moved into the house and I set myself up in these rooms, we have grown a little distant. Sorry.
Does she normally contact you when she misses an appointment to let you know what's happened, or how do you normally get in touch with her again?
Through letters, usually. But letters are so expensive nowadays.
Hmm.
And the money that my sister gets, she obviously a substantial amount goes towards the house for her safety. Well, you know,
Try going to hers.
like I say, it has only been a few days. I know I have been foolish, and I am ever so sorry. I genuinely thought she'd be okay.
What did you see yesterday from the beginning all the way through? I think you saw her, but
I saw her. She stepped from the back of the room out of the shadows. It's strange when you see things from the other side. They can appear in an instant or fade into existence. It goes beyond knowledge. I'm so used to it now that it didn't seem. Most of the time, it's nothing. I see a great many darknesses. She moved forwards. She was dripping, completely sodden, and she stepped towards Millicent slowly, and she had a face stuck in a death mask. Her eyes had clouded, and she looked at me and said, "Help me. Help." And then I was racked with something. I, I, I don't know how to. I'm sorry. And she kind of like moves the handkerchief again over her mouth. She is shaking a little.
Yeah, he will be like, yeah, the Reverend will pull out like a very, not ornate, but very sort of standard wooden cross. It's like, I don't know if you believe or not, but this might grant you some protection. It seems there's something visited.
Thank you.
I will go where your sister dwells, and I will investigate. I do this of my own choice, but the rest of you may join me, but do not feel compelled. I know people's reputations are at stake.
Thank you. And she does kind of at this point, like, grab your wrist very, very gently. Like, it's barely there, but you can feel just this kind of like gratitude in her as she kind of reaches over and just grabs your wrist for a second before draws back.
Hmm.
I if there is anything I can offer to you, I don't have a lot of money. Most of it I'm saving. I can maybe
No, no,
help you.
no. Nothing is needed.
Thank you. And she kind of looks to each of you a little. Please, as the Reverend said, my plan is to speak to the police as well, to the constabulary, see if I can get them to maybe investigate. But there are so many women that vanish, especially women who do what she does.
Someone needs to speak.
Would you like to come with us to investigate? With a group of us together, I think we can provide you with protection.
I think her physical health is.
I don't think it would be appropriate for her to come. I think it would be best if we do it, and I'm more than happy to accompany you, Reverend.
Thank you, Oswald.
Thank you. I mean, I would love to hear more. I'm going to have a little bit of like I say, I'm going to go to the authorities and see if they can help. I will try my hardest to support as best as I can.
Well,
but unfortunately, I do have clients later today, and I do have to continue on. I wish I didn't have to, but yeah.
It looks like you need to save your strength, and a report to the authorities from some other members of society, like myself and Oswald, might help.
Actually,
make a case.
I've got something better. Would I by chance know, given my occupation, someone that I could tell her to go and speak with that would probably be more, like, you know, because obviously, like you was just about to say, the report would probably just go in the bin the second she leaves. But would I know somebody that I could send her to that would probably actually lend a fair ear?
Yeah, definitely. You would probably know someone that you maybe worked with in the past when there's been a little bit of bother, stuff like that. A helpful constable.
Yes,
who might be able to.
Yeah, so I'd point out somebody to go and speak with and make sure they go to them, because obviously there'd be more of a chance that something actually gets done. Friend of a friend. Sorry, Hannah, carry on.
Sorry, say, are you sure you think you're up to doing more similar seances? I mean, the last one, given what happened at the last one.
You may be right. I mean, Bram has been telling me all evening that this might not be the best idea.
I do fear
I am of a mind to agree with him.
Yes, I do agree that I fear you're in some sort of spiritual danger as of now.
Can I ask if I can do a psychology check as to whether I think she would be able to cope with doing another one? I mean, it probably wouldn't be that high, I thought, but
go for it. All these successes, you guys are hot stuff. Jesus Christ!
Not only that, but her numbers she has to roll under are pretty low, and she's doing it.
Yeah. Can I persuade her to not do any more seances? That
will probably what I'll be doing if I don't think she's up to it, which I don't think she will be, given that. But you know.
Well, he was going to do it anyway.
Well, does it lower it if we're both trying to persuade her? Does that make it easier? I feel like we're both.
Okay. You get the distinct impression, because basically she just said she was frank to agree, that she's probably going to postpone most of them anyway. Like, Bram is nodding in the corner as she says that she's probably going to stop for a little while.
Okay.
With that psychology roll, though, you get the impression that she's trying to hold it all together. Like, she's not showing everything because she's scared that she will, break.
Now, given her circumstances and what's happened up till now, if she was to stop doing these seances, would she suffer financially? Do I think that she would be able to cope and stop doing them without having other bad stuff happen? Like,
You can ask her.
Okay.
Potentially, she seems to be. She's living in rooms, which usually means that someone is she's got a bit of money behind her. Most of these rooms will probably be rent based, as in they're paying an amount each week to keep them.
Okay, so I would ask. So do you think you would be okay without? Obviously this is your career. Do you think you'd be okay for a while without doing these seances? Honest question.
She kind of looks at you, and for a second you get just this kind of, because you're still analysing her at this point. You get the impression like this is not an issue for her. She's very happy. Well, not happy as such, because you can never be quite happy when you're dealing with something like this. But she is very thankful for that you guys have decided to help her in what she needs you to do. Does that make sense? She is willing to go along if you guys say you should probably stop for a little bit of time. She's happy to go along with that.
Okay, so
and she goes, yeah. She wants, what's the best way to explain it? With your psychology, you get the impression that she wants your help and that she will, she will listen to you all. She seems to be in a way that's like engaged with people. And she does kind of like take a sip of her tea at this point and kind of goes, does anyone want more? I'm so sorry. I'm being a terrible hostess.
It's quite all right. You need to save your strength. I've had my share. I don't mind if we depart now, Oswald. I take it you two, Rosa and Wilfred, aren't attending.
Are Rosa and Wilfred going with?
I'm curious by this whole event. I would like if you two are there with me, I think that we can proceed.
Were you muted?
Hello? Me?
Maybe.
Was Wilfred
Maybe.
muted?
I mean,
Maybe.
I must admit I've never seen such a thing happen. I'd like to get to the bottom of this, so I would like to come with you guys.
I'm sure, yes. I mean, we can escort you there, so it should be okay. And Wilfred?
Yeah.
Yes, I'll be coming along too. Let's see if we find out what's been happening here. Well, not here, but in there.
You're such a fucking NPC sometimes. Sorry.
That is the coolest thing I've ever had someone say is you're an NPC. Oh, the bear. It's not wrong, Liam.
I think it's more the fact that I think he'd actually said what he wanted to say and he'd been muted, and then he just stuck some NPC responses in when he realised he was like, yeah.
Oh, what the world would be if we heard Liam's initial responses.
That's the true insanity of this. Like, we would all be doing sanity checks if we actually knew what he wanted to say. This is my secret belief that Liam is an eldritch entity.
Yeah, he is. He fucking is.
I mean, you say that, but it was Ben that coined it first.
Yeah, I'm just echoing. But at this point, she will kind of stand and lead each of you out and goes, thank you so very much. And she kind of grasps each of your hand a little bit and goes, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you again. I hope to see you all soon. Thank you.
I'm sure we'll see you soon. Hopefully you'll bring good news. And yeah.
I'm sure of it.
Perfect. At this point, as you guys are being led out, Bram will come over with a small note of the address of the home you are going to. The boarding house, as it was referred to back in the day. And the door is kind of shut behind you. You're led outside by Bram to the the street and the door is shut behind you.
Just as Bram's walking us down,
Mhm.
the Reverend's got a question for Bram. It's like, so you are Ophelia's assistant?
Yes. I have worked for her for a few years. She helped me greatly when I needed it.
Are you paid by her? Are you her
Yes.
employee? Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm paid by her. It is common for mediums to have assistants. Most of the time, it's to take care of issues that people don't see. You know, there's a trick and a trade in this case with mediumship, and I thought it might be as much. I am able to help her with her stuff, assist in whatever way I can. It is unlikely that I would have gotten a good job, one that is as... I don't think I would be doing something so lawful if it had not been for Ophelia. There is not much work out there for a man like me.
Like you.
The same as most men in this town that do not go to, do not go to the cloth or into the army. I would be working in a factory, would probably be missing half my limbs by now. And even if I could get enough money to scrounge together, I would not be able to support anybody. I would live a thankless life. Just lost.
Yes, I see. I found many like that in the city.
Like I said, Ophelia found me one day. Saw that I was quick of mind, she said. Able to quickly understand things. And would offer some well-needed support out there. It is not easy for a young woman to make her way. Like I say, Reverend, I needed the help. I was actually, and he looks to each of you a little bit. He seems a little uncomfortable in the way that anxious thoughts are. I was actually trying to steal her purse at the time and she caught me. Said something told her that I was better than what I was doing. She helped me.
Well, that is true. I'm glad you're here to care for her.
She's like the sister I never had. Or I might add. I don't know. Orphans,
Yes. Yes. Very well. Thank you. We'll be returned as soon as possible.
Yes. For the time being, I think, make sure she keeps herself well and fed. I think that's probably the most important thing right now, and I'm sure we will bring good news of her sister's well-being as soon as possible. I'm sure it can't be too hard to find her in the place that she resides.
Quite.
Thank you, sirs.
I would like to think we will be back before the day's end.
I hope to see you soon. And he kind of gives a small bow of his head in kind of respect, as you've seen a lot of people do. It is, and shakes your hand before the door. He does lead you outside and he closes the door behind you. You are now all standing together in the foggy London streets. What would you like to do?
I guess the Reverend would be like, shall I arrange us a cab to this address or nearby?
I think, unless it's
not least right around the corner, yeah.
Unless it's right around the corner, then yes, I think that would be a good idea.
It would be about a 20-minute walk from where you are, a short coach ride.
I do not mind walking, but I'm more than happy to share in a cab.
We can walk in the our legs.
Very well then. I was hoping to avoid some of this miasma, but we'll
I'm more than happy to. I'm not allergic to the walking.
Okay. We'll walk to have a allegedly British stroll onto the red light district.
Just around the corner, ain't it? mate?
Yeah, just around the corner.
Ugh.
We're gonna go and get fucking bonked, innit, mate?
It's a
So-
fucking weird entourage.
It's like 3 men and a woman make their way through
No,
the foggy streets.
It's like,
of London.
the old joke, an Englishman, an Irishman, and a Scotsman walk into a bar.
Yeah.
A doctor, a priest, and an army soldier walk into a brothel.
A sergeant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here comes the jokes. Cool. Oh, and an explorer as
Yeah.
well. You've got a lady in your party
A
about
lady
to be taken.
I mean, she's an explorer,
Yeah.
so that kind of fits.
Well, her brother is the explorer. She's just
Yeah, well,
the tag
hopefully she
along.
will explore her.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm about to say.
She likes to. She likes
But yeah,
she's
you-
an explorer.
Yeah. So you all make your way through the streets of London.
Yeah.
You see a variety of different things, past different houses. You see people, taking their rubbish outside and just simply dumping it in the street. There are people making their way through the town. You don't see that many people outside, to be fair. Because of the fog, it does make it very difficult to find their way, and it takes you a little bit longer than it would do, like the 20 minutes, because you are having to stop and check that you are heading in the right direction of the house that is on the address on the parchment that was given to you. Eventually, though, you do suddenly notice a change in the streets that you're going through. Instead of them being a little bit wider and open with good lantern light, they start to turn into warrens, streets where you have to go through archways, ducking into essentially very cramped spaces, where instead of going in the group procession that you would do, you're having to make your way through, and you can hear all sorts of things in the fog.
I think at
Shouts,
this
cries out. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just about to say at this point, like the Reverend will be like, it's probably a good time to not to wear this for a little while, and takes his dog collar off and stashes it away.
Oh, he pulls the white bit out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stealth move.
I'm not a priest anymore.
That's fucking stealth mode. I love it.
You're not going to do math.
I just did imagine just
Sweet.
Tango whiskey going dark, pulls the collar out.
Ghost protocol. Yeah, no.
That's fucking dumb, but I love it. I was going to
first
say
thing you
something in
see-
character, but I can't even be asked. That was great.
The first thing you see as you start to approach this house is you do see a woman who kind of pulls herself away from the wall of the building and stalks away over to you. And as soon as she gets to you, you can almost smell the smell of she's maybe had a gin or two today, probably very recently. And she kind of looks at you each, looks at the lady and goes, "How's it going, all of you? Are you coming in? You want to see what's going on in Miss Layla's?"
We're here on a request to see Ethel.
"Oh, there's no Ethel inside, but I bet I could find you someone that'll, make your day, mister."
I'm sure you could. We're looking in particular. Her sister sent us to verify her well-being.
"Whatever you may need do. Come on." And she'll kind of lead you inside.
Again, this is not for sex stuff. No,
I can imagine she grabs you by the wrist as well. She's like,
No, but what
for
I
a
can
little
imagine
bit
is,
of coin.
I can imagine that,
Sorry?
Ben's reaction then, he's just the Reverend's like, no, this is not for sex stuff.
no, that's what I hear him as well, because he's trying to keep it full possible. I was like, no, not for Like,
And she's like, "Oh, if you pay a little bit of coin, I can even be Ethel for you."
oh,
She will lead you aside. I imagine each of you follow as she kind of brings you into
Well, just
the
can,
house.
can I just double check that he's not just been pulled into a random house? This is the correct house.
yes. I think
Yes,
this is
you
about-
just right
I just didn't want to make sure in case he was like 2 houses away, like because
Yeah.
if he's being pulled into the wrong house, then I'm just going to leave his ass.
No.
I just wanted to make sure because there was no indication that we arrived at the correct house. It was just she's trying to pull you in a house.
Sorry, I did say as you arrived at the house, you see a woman standing. That was my apologies.
I thought
it
it was just,
hidden.
I thought we were on the street or something, like the top of the street.
Yeah. The Reverend's a secret horn dog. He's like, I've just been poured into 4 different houses. I'm here now. No. It's like, no.
But you are led inside, and you do see kind of a burly man standing there as she comes past, and she's like, "Oh, so do you each want to come in, or?"
We are. I think we all went to the house, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're all entering into the house at this point, and she is kind of pulling, and she'll turn back and kind of cocks her head to one side. And this is vulgar behavior for a lady of the time. Like, this is definitely a house of ill repute. This is a lady of the night trying to get a sale. She's not hiding anything, and she is. She's got like red hair that's kind of been pulled back, and these like faint curls and everything. She is kind of pretty, or she would have been about 10 years ago, if that makes sense. A hard life with hard alcohol has aged her a little bit more. And her dress is quite low and, you know, very garish. It's like this deep red colour. Compared with all the colours that you've seen of like greys and blues and blacks and stuff like that, this is...
Again, I don't want to mislead you, dear lady. I'll sit and turn to the man as well. We're here on a different kind of business that you're accustomed to. We're here to find and ascertain the well-being of a lady called Ethel.
Oh.
So her sister may rest easy.
She kind of pulls her little face a little bit. Her red lips kind of like pouting. And she goes, "Oh, you're no fun." And she'll kind of stalk off, and he goes, "Don't worry, that's just Missy. Do you want to head in? I'll try and see if I can get Miss Layla for you. Come on."
That would be
And he'll take you into like the main room. As you're kind of heading through, you do hear a wide variety of sounds, all behind closed doors. There's nothing on show, but this is a house in business, if that makes sense. And as you go through, you hear shouts and sounds and even the sharp slap and stuff like that. It is just a house of ill repute.
You see the Reverend is clutching his like wooden cross. Like...
Oh, I thought you were going to say clutching his pearls then.
Well, no,
a little bit.
No, it's wooden cross. He's sort of he's one or two things at different times. You either see him holding his wedding ring on his finger, like nervously, like twirling it, or he's tapping his cross to make sure it's there. Those are the two like mannerisms he's doing.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, you're led into a sitting room, and you can see, like from a quick glance, it's all right. There's nothing visibly on display. There is a small piano in the corner. The sofas look to be comfortable. It is nice-ish. It's what you would expect, but you can, after sitting in here for a few minutes, notice the slight stains of mold around the side that have been painted over and stuff like that. It is quickly apparent that it is a visible sheen on what could be a lot of darkness. Well wallpapered, but there are odd stains on the couch, kind of deal. But you're all led to sit down. Would you like to do anything while you're in the room, or are you just waiting?
Does the man stay there?
No, he's gone to go and fetch
Okay.
Miss Layla. He does return a short moment later. Oh, would you like to do something, Ben?
I was just
Sounds
going to
like
say,
you-
it's like, what? Do you remember what Ethel's surname was? Might help. Or Ophelia's surname. If they have the same one, that is.
No, but I would assume that there is probably only one Ethel in here that bears a sister by the name of Ophelia.
If she uses her Christian given name, yes. She might not, though.
I think Ophelia would have been due diligent enough to explain if this was the case.
This is true.
I don't think she would have sent us ill-equipped.
Right, Oswald.
You seem uncomfortable. Is this your first time into the depths of such a place?
Sometimes we provide outreach, but I never get accustomed to it.
Well, dear boy, there's plenty to learn and first-time experiences to be had, even if they are awkward for you.
Yes, I have heard.
And I'll kind of like nudge him a little bit.
He sort of gives a wry smile. He's like, I have heard the reputation of soldiers.
Well,
Wine, women, and song. Emphasis on maybe the wine and the women.
well, when there's nothing better to do, I suppose it's best to keep our minds occupied.
Quite.
After this conversation has taken place, it's about 30 seconds before a woman enters into the room. And she's dressed not similarly, like everything is a little less, if that makes sense. Her dress is of this deep purplish colour, her neckline a little higher than the other woman, but she's a little older as well, seems to be maybe someone who spent time in the trade before moving herself up the ranks. She does have a beautiful necklace on, but you quickly see it's glass and fake metal and stuff like that as she comes in and goes to you. Oh, what a delight! I'm always willing to offer our services to new customers. And she quickly spots the lady in the room and kind of goes, whatever it may be, as you understand, we would have to be.
Again, we don't wish to cause confusion, but we're here on a different type of business. The lady Ophelia has sent us to ascertain the well-being of Ethel, who we think might be under your charge.
Jude did mention this whilst Missy was trying to sell her wares.
Yes,
and she'll kind of like take a seat in this very comfortable seat as she kind of looks at you all. Please take a seat. We can talk.
We're already sat.
Yeah.
Oh, you already sat. Okay. What is it that you want to know?
NPC dialogue.
Yeah, sorry.
No, a little bit, you know.
I nearly took the mick out of Alex yesterday. The NPC got us. No, it was today. The NPC got us to sit down for then just to go. I need to get you to come into the other room. Like,
yeah. I'm glad I wasn't the only person. He was like, come into this other room.
Please sit down. Now we're moving to the other room. Like, okay.
Yeah, but to be fair, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
What it is, we were sent here by Ethel's sister Ophelia, and she hasn't heard of her sister in a short while, and was just wanting someone to check in on the poor girl and make sure she was doing fine and dandy and in all good health. She explained that she was working here and asked if we would be willing to stop by and just put an eye and make sure she's doing fine.
We've not seen Ethel in a fair few days. Actually, you can tell her when you find her that she owes me.
You haven't seen
Ethel? She owes me 3 crown.
You said you haven't seen Ethel in a few days.
Oh, no.
Hmm.
You know, ever since she's been gallivanting, she's been honestly taking liberties. That girl has. I mean, I understand this isn't the life for all, but you don't owe money. You know, you pay your debts. I have a house to run.
Do you know where she
True,
was perhaps going?
Oh, I don't know. The girls in this place, honestly. A few days ago, right, we had to send someone, off to that old house. And she'll make a motion. Just, started saying strange things. We had to get rid of her. Make sure she didn't spoil our customers' experience.
Sorry, which
strange
house is
things,
this?
you say?
Dream?
Oh, yeah, nattering on something rotten she was. Honestly, every other thing she said, she was honestly starting to freak out the customers a little bit. They're coming here for a nice time, and all she's talking about is strange men and weird things, and honestly, downright bore. Better off without her, I say.
What kind of weird things?
Oh, I don't know. Stuff along the lines of, uh, see, every now and then we send girls out, and some men might want them for a party or something. However, we sent her out, and then only a few days later, she's suddenly seeing strange things in the dark. She's having these weird dreams. I don't know.
But this wasn't Ethel.
Oh no, this was Mercy. She's always a good girl, a little odd sometimes. She didn't like the gin, you see. She said that her dad, used to imbibe a little bit. Not a nice man, Had to leave him very suddenly, and then she ended up here. And, like I say, nice girl. The lads seem to like her. And then, well, suddenly she started acting a little strange. So I had to do what I had to do. Suddenly I hear she's, up at Bedlam.
What did you do with her?
She just said.
I just had a...
Yeah, she's at Bedlam.
Bedlam? Is that a place?
It's a mental asylum.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
it
One
works.
of us works here, yeah. What? Wilfred works there.
Have you ever heard of Bedlam before? Let me just ask this: are people aware of what Bedlam is?
I'm aware
So your
of what it
character's
is, but I
busy.
don't know it.
Isn't it like the big mental institution? That's
It was,
why there
yeah,
will be.
a big, massive mental health. Yeah. Compound
Yeah, it
institution.
wasn't. It was by this time, it's getting towards the end of its time, essentially. It was not a nice place for a lot of people who unfortunately suffered with mental health problems in those days. Or not even that they would suffer from mental health. It would be a place that, people would want people to go if they needed them to be shut up but didn't want to kill them and stuff like that. It was not a nice place, really, at all.
Well, I mean, you said that she came back from the party and was acting strange, as you say, and the reason why she unfortunately had to go away. Where was she? To cause such an illness or problem?
Well, as you can understand, I have to keep some anonymity for my clients. Can't be spouting all their names. Suddenly their names are in the press, and they wouldn't be best kind with that.
Oh no, I
offer some.
I understand. It's just a minor concern for myself, and I'm sure the other people here, that we would certainly not appreciate visiting a place of rest or somewhere to come back and find us spouting gibberish.
Are you not concerned the same thing could happen to you if you ended up going to that place? So, just have some idea.
I'm not quite following what you're trying to say here, love.
Well,
what happened was, I sent 2 girls off. One came back completely fine and suddenly ran off, and the other one went a bit loopy. I don't think it was the place. Maybe she, found something new in her life, something that would take the edge off, and it sended her a bit strange. Honestly. Or maybe she caught something, I do know, unfortunately, not every man's the cleanest. You must understand, love. These girls do spend their time laying with every rich man. It's not the best life, but it is a good life, and I hold a good house, and I'm not going to sit here listening to you knock my reputation, okay? I had to do what I had to do.
Oh, certainly. I think you made the hard choice in doing what you feel and what you know is best, considering your work here. I was just merely sharing a concern that it might have been something that afflicted the poor girl, and I was just more concerned for my own well-being, as well as I'm sure you're out yourself. I just wanted to make
What
sure
are you
that
trying to say, sir?
that unfortunately certain people are not the nicest, and I'm just share a concern that you might have unknowingly sent someone to be mistreated.
I don't think the lady here sent her to Bedlam. I think the lady
not
said
to
she
Bedlam.
would
No,
what,
to the
what,
party.
Oh, yes, I
What,
see.
what I mean is,
That's
if one came
basically,
back
Ben,
immediately...
what I'm insinuating is, Ben, that she did everything that she could right, but obviously it could be that because certain rich folk, as I'm sure the working women know, certain rich folk are arseholes, and maybe this just happens to be an arsehole place. And it's just more of a self-preservation, like, who the fuck is this?
I think what we're trying to say is that even though I understand that your clients have some confidentiality, if you've had one run off and one suddenly go mental from the same place at the same time, maybe it's related to where you've sent them. And if it's not, then fine. But wouldn't you want to know that? Because I mean, if you send other girls out there, that could be putting more people at risk. So surely you would have an interest in knowing where these risky places are.
And obviously we can help find Ethel and get your shillings that you're owed. As you explained, debts are to be paid, and you are quite rightly so there.
If they are related, we may be able to find her and bring her back. We're not interested in ruining your business. We're looking to protect you and your women. And if that ends up with us getting her back and getting your money back, then that'll be in your interest too, no? One woman to another?
No. Look here. We're not the same. I can tell that from a mile off. You come in here and you're telling me that I need to give up? Honestly, it's a 1 in a billion times. I have sent many a girl out on the stage. They come here because they need a little protection. They don't want to be standing outside in the cold, waiting for some man to tear out their stomach. You know what happened to women? What happened to women only in these streets only a couple of years ago? I offer them protection, and now you are saying that I have somehow sent them out to.
I am not
what?
saying that you.
What are you saying?
I am not saying that you are sending someone out to put themselves into a difficult position. I'm saying there are dangerous. You and I both know there are dangerous things out there, and you may unwittingly have sent them somewhere that is potentially risky. And if it is risky, you will potentially want to know that to minimize your risk. Surely, if you're wanting to look after your woman, you are also wanting to minimize your risk. We are offering you a way of we can subtly investigate what has happened, and if it's safe and it was nothing untoward, then nothing. Obviously it's not your fault either way. But at least you'll know that, and you'll know that. If you're looking out for your girls, surely you will also want to know where the dangerous spots are. On the streets, obviously dangerous. You're providing them with some protection. We are offering you further protection from that situation.
Make a persuasion check. Or a persuade, sorry.
Does she get any assistance because of all the input I've been having?
I will reduce it down from an extreme success to a hard success. You need to get a hard success in order to beat it. Like I say, there's a woman who she's trying, if that makes sense. But I'm not removing it completely. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Let me just find that on here.
I might have spaced out. We haven't connected Ethel to this house, have we?
Yeah, we have.
Have we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's been missing for a few days, and what it is, 2 girls were sent to a party. The one went mad and was sent to Bedlam. The other was Ethel, who went missing.
All right. Okay.
We've been asking essentially, well, where did you send them? Because surely
Yeah.
you
that
know,
makes
there's a
sense.
connection. Something's happened,
Yeah.
and we want to basically the follow the trail. Let's go to where they went. You know what I mean? But yeah,
Now, yeah. I must have
Right.
because I couldn't.
When
I didn't link them for.
I mean, I have got an alternate plan if this doesn't work, but obviously I've got
Do
to
I
talk
have
to you guys
put
away from this one.
Do I have to set this to hard on roll options?
You can just roll it, but if it comes up with a hard success like how Ben's did, that's a hard success. If it just says success, that's just a success. If it says failure, it's a
That's
failure.
a failure.
Hard
Oh, I am
success for a large
terrible at
player.
this. There you go. That's my first failure. Oh well.
That's not a hard
I
success.
don't want some hoity-toity woman telling me what for. You think I don't look after my girls and why I don't do everything I need to do? Look, I'll tell you this, okay? I don't know who exactly it was. All I did was I got asked by a good friend of mine that somebody was interested in a couple of girls heading to a fancy party. Both Ethel and Mercy jumped at the chance. Hopefully hook themselves a good patron who would spend a little money on them, put them up in nice rooms, visit them, even though they had a wife. You know the type.
Mistresses,
Suddenly,
yes.
yeah. From what I know, Ethel got one. Mercy not as much. I feel like it might have been that she was trying to be a bit dramatic, you know? Trying to pull her friend down. Started spouting all this strange stuff.
So you believe that Ethel met someone at this party and's got a patron?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, suddenly she starts wearing nicer things.
I see.
Past few months, she's been walking around like Lady of the Manor.
I see.
Feeling like she can pick who she wants, you know? I don't know what more I can say to you at this point.
No, we can. I have some idea to continue this investigation. We're sorry I'm sorry we offended you. We'll
No
be on our
offense
way.
taken. Are you sure? Like I say, I think Missy took a liking to you from what I've heard.
I am quite all right, thank you. And you'll sort of feel his wedding band around his finger.
Oh, don't worry. There's no harm in taking a little bit of relief.
We'll have our own
Many
opinions on things. Unless, does anyone else wish to ask anything? If not, I feel like
I think I will let the poor man have a moment's rest. I think he's a little flustered. He's not used to being in such establishments, that's all. I apologize on his behalf.
Oh, no problem at all. And if you ever fancy, you know, a little bit of fun, you can always head back, sir. We do take care of gentlemen like you.
Is that to me or Oswald?
It's to all of you.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was saying Wilfred's just made noises in the back. I'm like,
Oh.
And then she does kind of look towards Rosa and goes, and if you ever feel like, you know, you might want a different sort of trade, I know many a man who'd take a lady like you. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
I'm fine, thank you.
And she does kind of laugh at this point, and she kind of starts to lead you back through. Well, don't be a stranger. Toodaloo.
Good day to you, and maybe see you soon.
Just a good day. And, yep.
And
as the door
and
closes...
I want to just say one final thing, because I know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Wilfred.
Mm-hmm.
You said you worked at Bedlam, didn't you?
Yeah.
You're having the same thought I was.
I think we
You
should
head
go
there if you want to.
go and speak with the dear working lass and maybe get some insight as to the party she's been to recently.
Yeah. I can get you in, I think.
Do they do guest passes?
Do they do guest passes?
No. Well, technically, They would
Used
do
to.
showings, so they would take groups of individuals round in order to show them some of the events.
So
But that was
could he in
decades
theory,
ago.
but
Yeah.
could he in theory, being a staff member of, get us in?
Yeah.
He
Realistically.
could probably sneak you in or just take you through the door and pretend like you're meant to be there.
Yeah, okay,
He
cool.
might need to come up with something, but by this point, it's a little bit faux pas to go and view the
Yeah.
the afflicted.
But I think you're getting where I think you get what we're getting at, Rose, though, just so you can plan.
Yeah.
I'd rather not have somebody admitted there because if one of us gets admitted there, we're probably going to struggle to get out.
No, that's a
So
bit
that's
drastic. That's a bit too drastic. I think. Well, it's like we got a reverend, we got a nurse. That's 2. That can probably be, and then we just have to figure out the other 2 how we get them in.
It's a shame that they don't have cameras in it. What I think maybe that's an idea though. We've got a staff member and a reverend. Maybe I mean, we don't all have to get in. The reverend could be there to help her out, pray for her sanity return. You know, or the same man of the cloth
Yeah.
there to help her out.
Yep. Sounds
get
like a
some
plan.
info.
But I see the time.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's why I just wanted to get that last thing in, so Rose has an idea of what to potentially plan for.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if we've got a reverend with us, sneak the reverend in with the staff member, and the rest of us can, I don't know, try and investigate where.
I'm sure he can get us a few spare lab coats.
Yeah.
So yeah, as Oswald turns towards Wilfred and asks if he works in Bedlam, the curtains will close, ready for the next act. Enjoy your brief intermission. You're going to need all the rest you can get.
And just for those that are listening along, by brief intermission, she means multiple days. Maybe even weeks. Just letting you guys know.
Yeah, it will be a little while until we can organise the next time, because this took 3 months to organise.
To be fair, now we've started, it'll be much, much quicker.
But yeah, I hope everybody watching enjoyed it. If we have got anyone watching, I know Matt said he was going to come along, but I've not seen him once in any chat.
Matt has been there. He's played a few sound alerts, and we've been as high as 14 people, and we've averaged at about 7 or so people listening in.
Wait. I'll do the ritual. Anime cat girls.
Is there? There you go.
Excellent.
But no, Rose, I appreciate it. Because like I said,
he's there.
It was a different. It was a change of pace. It was fun.
Yeah, because it was heavy
You enjoy it?
RP and talking and stuff, which I don't mind. God, when he was here, suggested about getting not only for this, but for
ambience.
Yeah, and like a soundboard or something. The only problem is I've been trying to get sounds and music in the background for a while. It's just the problem is DMCA, but apparently it's a lot easier now. So I will have a look at some point. And obviously, again, the problem is it'll only be for those on the stream unless I can sort out things in between. But I will end the recording now and then soon after the stream, so then we can chat afterwards. Obviously, a slot. But I appreciate everyone that's watching. And if you're watching on YouTube, I hope you have a good day, and I will see you again.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
thank you for coming along to our little